Hello everybody and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and I'm back today with yet another episode of The World's Tree Burns. We've got the full cast and crew with us tonight for it's going to be an explosive episode, I'm sure, in the cartways of Zobeck. So let's go around the cast and crew, let's figure out who we are and who we're playing tonight. So let's start with our illustrious Dungeon Master, Dan Dillon. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back again. So I am Dan Dillon. As previously mentioned, I'll be your Dungeon Master for this evening. And so I am the world and the monsters and the horrible and the wonderful things that are going to happen to these lovely people.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get into it. We also have with us tonight Tall Squall back again to our screen. Squall, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I am more than excited to be here again in Midgard, this amazing world setting that we are in as we are exploring it all the way from level 1, but we are now level 2, or almost. We are in the transition period between level 1 and 2. I am Glaz. I am your local Trollkin Geomancer, and I am realizing that even though I was the biggest and toughest at mage school, that doesn't mean a whole lot out here in the real world. Can't wait to play.
Absolutely. We also have with us Laurelania. Tia, how you doing?
I'm doing really great. Just got off the long march, had a lot of fun, got to go meet my hero, Gavin Fjordhammer. It's good times. I'm playing Kari, the Shadow Cat Domain, Shadow Fae Cleric of the Cat Domain. There we go. I got it right this time. And yeah, coming up on level 2 and really excited.
Great stuff. We also have McLoken back on our screens tonight. How you doing, my friend?
Hey. I have, if you guys notice, everyone's cosplaying. I have a blanket. I live in Texas. It's 100 degrees, so I'm not going to have this on. And I have this cool mask that I got from a masquerade party. So, yeah, I'm going to play clerk, and I'm an enormous ranger, and I'm super excited because I get to kill shit.
Great stuff. And last but not least, a man who never speaks and probably needs a throat lozenge when he does. Encounter Josh, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I am 7 hours into D&D today. About to play some more. It's my third game. I'm going through D&D almost as quick as Tall Squall's going through characters in the last half hour. So, yeah, it's a super awesome day. Tuesdays are my favorite day. So I will be playing Kane. He's a Dampier Ranger. He's just fed for the first time in a very long time, and with that comes magic. It's not mechanically how it works, but I like the idea that he's just had his first drop of blood in a very long time, and leveling up to level 2 as a ranger, I get magic, and I'm a player. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. As for myself, I'll be playing Riodan, the other Dampier of the group. He is a cleric of the Hunger Domain, darling, and he's here very intrigued as to last week's or last episode's antics, I think is the correct word, and near-death experiences of most of Labai. I'm very interested in this chap who disappeared away in a portal, who didn't even seem to have the time to kill us. That's how scary he was. So, yeah, super excited about getting into this this intrigue in the cartways of Zobeck. But before we get started tonight, I'll remind you guys, we're sponsored primarily by Kobold Press tonight. All of the materials we're using are from the Midgard campaign, which you can find on koboldpress.com. Exclamation point Kobold will get you over there to their site. It's recommending the Hero's Handbook as well. If you want to play Dampiers, if you want to play Kobolds, Gearforge, there's a ton of great new races and classes and domain options that you can try out there. And the Hero's Handbook available on PDF and also ships internationally. We have 60 copies that we've been using to play our characters, and a lot of the Midgard rules and setting is on display on this stream. We're of course also sponsored by Fantasy Grounds and by Wayland Games. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. And it looks like my camera has fucked itself. I'll be right back in a second, but nonetheless my voice is here, which is the the most important component of this. Yes, check out Fantasy Grounds, check out Whaling Games for all of your sexy minis. 6 icons don't need to move. That's right. Thank you, Homer. And of course, you can interact with today's show by following. If you haven't yet already, hit that follow button and join us. And of course, here is a tweet for you guys as well. 20 retweets, viewer decision. And don't forget, you can donate to affect the game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and ducks, according to the last episode of Long March. But other than that, I will hand over to our illustrious Dungeon Master, Dan Dillon, to take us into today's episode, but also to remind us what happened last week on the show.
Yes, indeed. So when last we had left our heroes, they were in the dank dungeon-like cartways beneath the Zobeck, the free city. So the cartways are a network of tunnels, abandoned mines, and underground passages, some that were at one point used for infrastructure of the city or for the nobility to move around without having to bump into any of the rabble on the streets, or things that were left over and built for much shadier reasons. It's rumored that there are dark temples and smugglers and all manner of cutthroats and brigands in the cartways, which our heroes have come to learn is absolutely the truth when they delved into some of these ancient tunnels in search of a lost book that was stolen that they have been hired to retrieve. They ran across some brigands, hired thugs, and then into cultists. And then last week, particular, they found themselves face to face with undead shadows, and that was quite a harrowing encounter, as it turned out our heroes did not quite have the perfect keys to dealing with those creatures, so it was touch and go for a while. But they have prevailed, they're victorious, they survived, and they pressed on to find the heart of this cult activity in the cartways. They found themselves in a vaulted cavern. A vaulted chamber, constructed chamber with great stone pillars holding up the ceiling. And there are iron cages scattered about the room, some of them filled with corpses of animals. You see hawks and owls, you see wolves and dogs, you see several larger cages that now that you have some time to gather your wits and look about, you see that there are human corpses in them, or humanoid corpses at least, from your vantage point. And here you fought a number of individuals who brought all sorts of dark magic to bear. There's a black altar with a half-naked human man stretched, bent backwards over it and manacled down so he couldn't escape. His chest was butchered open before your very eyes, and a great pulse of black energy released that caused a great wave of nausea, blinded some of you, seems to have struck down Cain's faithful owl companion, as well as causing great distress and killing many of the animals that were alive in the cages. You fought shadow creatures, these great mastiffs that seem to be infused and native to the shadow realm, and these strange owl-like creatures with great grinning human mouths that could speak. And several of your company knew them to be called Strix. There were 2 cult individuals in the chamber, one of which, as previously mentioned, teleported away after contemptuously, with a word that seemed to strike at your bodies and souls, unravel Glaz's magic when he struck at him. And with sort of a contemptuous wave and dismissive order to his underling, vanished in some sort of dark portal. The underling was a brutally vicious individual that you were able to bring down with great difficulty and some, if I recall, some near death, as there were a couple of timely critical hits scored here and there that left several of you sliced and bleeding. And so that's where we find ourselves. You're in this candlelit room. The darkness has passed, especially after the dark mantle creature that had been lurking on the ceiling decided to pick that moment in the aftermath of your battle to strike, dropping onto Kari, trying to claim a meal. And then once you had dealt with that threat, the lingering dark energies in this place animated the dark servant, the shadow cultist, into a zombie. And that was a bit of a harrowing encounter to finally put it down. But now, finally, the sounds of battle have cleared, the ring of weapons echoes away into the chambers and tunnels, and you find yourselves out of danger for the moment. A couple of quick reminder points. Tia, I believe, grabbed the knife out of the sacrificial victim's chest. And when you did, you could feel the hilt pulsing in your hand, almost like a heartbeat. There is, I believe we left with Cloak, seeing to the whimpering and sort of pathetic noises emanating from one of the cages, and in it you see what was once probably a very beautiful hound, sort of golden furred and long-legged, very good-looking animal. If it weren't matted with filth, emaciated from that strange black pulse that ripped through, and it seems to be the only creature still alive amongst the cages.
Cloak would like literally after the whole combat was over, like everyone would probably be like, "Oh my god, everyone's safe!" and like looking. Cloak is already walking around the corner back to the cage, and he's like, "Oh, hi, and he's like petting, like.
Yep. And so you return to the cage, and there's one little latch that you can slide open and pull the door open. There isn't any kind of a lock or anything more complicated on it.
Yeah. So I would have a food ration out, and I would be that. Oh, here you go, little buddy. It's okay.
Okay. You pull the food out, a strip of dried meat, and the hound's nostrils begin to flare, and you can hear it snuffling towards the smell of food, and it's sort of weakly giving off these little whines as it tries to move, shuffles forward just enough to kind of stick its tongue out and start to lick at the meat and wrap its lips and snatch it with its teeth.
Yeah, I would like assist a little bit. Like if it
Sure.
looked like a little too weak, he would like put it in there, and then he would like sit back. Can I roll animal handling, or can I not make a roll yet?
There's no need. Tell me what your intention is, and I'll let you know if you need to roll or not.
I'm trying to show that I'm not aggressive or I'm trying to help it. I don't know. I say because I don't know if it's him or her yet.
Sure. So it looks like while the animal is afraid and probably confused and in pain, it looks like the offer of food seems to have gone a long way to at least start building that foundation of trust. And as you kind of lean forward to help the dog does manage to grab a hold of the meat, pull it over, and start to eat on it. Now, it's not just sort of gulping it down and inhaling it like you would expect a dog to do. It seems like it's putting a great deal of effort even to this simple task.
Okay. I would then have like a little cup, and my experience with starving animals, I imagine, is that you don't want to give them a lot of food right away.
Correct.
Because they will eat until their stomach explodes because they're just so hungry or thirsty. So he takes out like a little cup that he has, and he puts a little water in it, and he puts it next to the dog as it's chewing on the jerky there.
Okay. The dog begins to greedily lap up the water and works. And now that it's had maybe a little bit of a respite from whatever's been going on before, it gets a few nips of food in its mouth and has some water in it, it manages to sort of sit up a little more fully and is attacking the food and water, any that you give it, with much greater gusto. So while Cloak is tending to this hound, what are the rest of you doing?
I take the dagger in my hand and I look over to Glaz. I think this is more your area of expertise. And she looks him in the eye and hands over the dagger.
Yeah, Glaz, what do you have there, Kari? And he takes it. Does he feel the same type of pulsing from it?
Okay, when you grab a hold of it, yeah, there is that faint, almost like a throbbing tap against your palm. And it's really, once you notice it and start to focus on it, it sort of fades away. It's one of those little things, like where you just notice it just at the edge of your awareness, but then when you look for it, it's gone. But when she hands it to you, you definitely feel it almost sort of faintly jump in your hand.
There is
The blade
something-
itself, sorry, it's a long-bladed dagger, and it has sort of a serpentine curved blade, and it looks like the steel is pattern welded, if you know what that means. So it looks almost like wood grain.
Yep. It is very finely made, and if you'll give me just a few moments, I can try to figure out exactly what it is that's making it have this effect. I sort of look around us. Do we think we've got some time? Are we safe? Can you scout to see make sure that we're not going to have something else jump out or come back to life on us? That was not fun at all.
Speaking of something,
Great.
speaking of something jumping or coming back to life, there is a faint, weak, and you all look over and you see one of the wings of Kane's owl sort of flutters and stretches.
Is it a real bird? Or
Yeah.
a familiar bird?
As
it's
far
a
as you
real
know, it was a real bird. Yeah,
Can I cast Cure Wounds on it?
sure. All right, so you walk over to it, and you whisper a short prayer, and there's that faint flow of warmth from your palm into the bird, and immediately it sort of rights itself, struggles up to its claws, fluffs out its feathers, and beats its wings a few times, and flies straight for Kane.
Kane is like come over to it, and like as he sees Kari put her hand towards it, he like has his blade still in hand and brings it towards her, like behind her, having that moment of wondering what exactly, if she puts my bird down, I'm going to. But then he realizes that she's healing it, and he raises his hand and lets the bird
Yep.
fly onto his arm, and
She
know,
smiles
flies
as the
right
bird
over.
flies away.
he gives her a curious look, Kari, and just nods.
And I'm
So,
going to head off and scout while he does his identify, I'm guessing.
Yep. So,
So-
Glaz will
yeah,
take
yeah.
off his big leather skin that is over his shoulder and lay it out. And he'll take out these few stones that he has and begin to catch the ritual and sort of arrange the stones along the sort of map to get them aligned so that the magic can flow ritualistically into this dagger to try to see what do we have here. You are quite strange, my friend, speaking to the dagger as he casts.
All right. So it is quite obviously magical as you've taken some time to handle it, and you have that strange heartbeat pulse from the leather-wrapped hilt as you hold it. And all of you can kind of watch as Glaz begins his chanting and his particular motions where he traces the various lines and glyphs and runes on his almost toga-like skin that he wears over his shoulder, and you can see the light start to follow his tracery as he weaves his spell. That's going to take him a good little while. So, Kari, you're going to check out the other side of the room. We'll get to you in just 1 second. Riodan, what else? Are you up to anything in particular at the moment?
I see like Cloak's helping a dog here, and Riordan will go over and fetch it an extra bone. But he's not feeling too good after that last one. So
Right.
he's going to find a pool of blood and start licking the floor, or eating
Okay,
anyone's corpses that still has any kind of fresh blood in.
All right, so if you're looking for fresh blood, I assume you prefer humanoid over animal.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so there's the best bet. You look at the freshest body, which would be the Dark Servant, the dual sickle wielding, bandage wrapped, black robed figure that turned out to be a little bit of an unholy terror when it got up close to you, and then you sort of think about all of the necrotic energy that must have been pulsing through it as that black inky paint-like darkness sort of flowed up its body into its mouth and nose and eyes and animated it as the undead. And you think maybe you'd better pass on that one. So that leaves you with the poor bastard who is bent backwards over the altar with his chest laid open like a side of beef.
I'll take the beef guy.
All right.
And just sort of, I really needed this. Thank you, friend.
So there's a great deal of blood sort of pooled in his chest cavity where his heart was split in twain. And there's, obviously there's going to be a bunch of blood kind of pooled in his extremities and down in his head and throat as he's bent over the altar, and gravity would have pulled it there.
Yeah, I'll go in and just sink in my teeth and feel the relief as the blood flow goes down my mouth.
Right. So you can get the effect of one successful bite on what's left, on the faint lingering traces of life left in this fellow's body. As you sort of pull away from his throat and just sort of instinctively kind of clean up after yourself a little bit, you notice that he has a brand on the side of his neck.
What is the brand of? Does it have like any mark on it, or is it just a burn?
No, it is in fact a very deliberate mark, it looks like, and it is in the shape of a shield with a dagger behind it, sort of blade down.
Gladys, darling, do you know what this is? I found a rather odd-looking mark on our friend here.
So you sort of say that, and you look over, and he kind of shoots you half of a raised eyebrow as he sweeps his hand over his spellbook hide and continues chanting. It seems he is ankle deep in ritual at the moment.
Anyone else want to take a look at this fellow here? He's well, something odd. I don't recognize it.
And Cloak's right there with the dog, so he probably look up at you and he's like, "What is it?"
Okay. Anyone who would like to investigate can make an intelligence investigation check, or an intelligence history check. Either way.
Cool.
Well, both are 0, so.
Kane, you have advantage on this.
Ooh, okay.
Here we go, because I don't have it. Is it right if I handle it? Because we don't have.
That's a 17. That's a 17 on history.
17 on history
for right now.
Okay. All right. So Kane, you recognize that mark immediately. That is the insignia of a local gang called the Black Shields.
Okay, so he's got a tattoo. So this guy was a gang.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
You got a 17. That's even good enough to realize that you noticed. You didn't really pay much attention to it at the time, but those cutthroats that you dispatched right before you ran into the cultists way back, way back a day ago, they had similar sort of marks or scarves tied around their necks, and it stands to reason that those strong arms that you guys took out were probably members of the same gang.
What was the name of the gang, sorry?
The Black Shields.
I'll write that down too. I rolled a 19, by the way.
On investigation or history?
Investigation.
They were the same, right? Okay, so you can kind of corroborate this. You and Kane ended up working together fairly recently a few times, Cloak, particularly once you both started working on the Shadow Realm, merchant train guard duty. And so you had run into a few of them as well. So you recognize that insignia.
And what was the gang called one more time? I just got everything ready to
Black
write.
Shields.
The Black Shields.
The Black Shields, yes.
Okay. I look at Kane as I probably recognize that he sees the same thing as I do, and I was like, "Oh, this has a gun. Why are they down here?"
Can I take
Okay,
a look for the black book that we're supposed to get? Is it?
Sure. You were going to check out the rest of the rest of the area and scout it out. So, if you recall, the chamber that you guys are in is quite long and rectangular, with various niches and alcoves along either way there. And so it's probably about 60 or 70 feet to the other end, and these large, kind of 5-foot square brick columns pop up every maybe 15 feet throughout the room in the middle. Toward the other end, you can smell...
Anonymous dispensation.
Oh, dear.
Oh. Holy shit, what was that?
What was
So
that?
I didn't see it. I didn't...
100?
What?
Wait, what?
That was 100...
G-
What?
What's
What just happened?
GBP?
That's pounds. That's 100 pounds.
Great
It's
British
$100.
Oh,
pounds.
it's 100 pounds. Oh, I'm
Damn.
sorry.
Holy
Okay.
shit. What's happening?
Damn.
We need... Will come back!
Is it someone? It costs 100
No
gold
one tell
pieces
him
to resurrect.
anything.
No, tell him a thing. We'll split it between us.
So yes, Hunter
Holy-
Wolf, thank you for your donation, for your
Wow, yeah, thank you very much.
donation. If you've whispered Will or Dan, if that's for a
They
specific
haven't-
thing or
yeah,
just because
they
you're
haven't.
enjoying the show, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank
your
you.
donation.
Don't
Will is
take
having a little bit of a
one.
computer problem right now. He's trying to get it sorted out, but that is an amazing donation. Thank you so much for your
Yes,
support of the
thank you
station
very
and what
much.
we're doing here.
If there was a purpose to that donation beyond just your scintillating generosity, we will get to that as soon as we possibly can. And thank you again. All right, Kari. So as you're heading to the other end of the chamber, you can see that one of those niches is indeed another doorway that looks like it goes off into more tunnels. This one also looks like it is open, as was the one you guys entered through. But as you head down the chamber, you can smell old blood. This just sort of coppery tang fills the air with just the faintest beginning sickly sweet tinge of decay. And as you look, you find some crates and just sort of stacks of what looks like discarded clothing. And beyond that, there's a small pile of humanoid bodies.
I'll take a look around the room, besides the bodies being the odd thing in here, see if there's anything that stands out, anything that looks like that dagger that I gave to
Sure.
Glaz.
Okay, so searching around the alcoves, it looks like everything here is mostly dusty, debris-ridden, or just kind of empty. If you want to search through the bodies, it looks like there are 4 adult humanoid bodies of various ages, and you can see at least 1 male and 1 female, just kind of lumped together in this sort of haphazard stack behind the crates and clothing.
Your hunt is over. She kind of says a couple of prayers over them.
All right.
And then continues to search the bodies, knowing that this is just the circle of life. I mean, it's terrible for them, but they didn't survive the hunt.
Right. Searching the bodies, you find that first of all, they're all stripped bare, so they really don't have anything on them. You don't find any jewelry or any identifying marks or anything like that. You can see that their throats have been slit with kind of careful precision, which tells you that they were either surprised or were not able to effectively resist. Their bodies are fairly well drained of blood, look like they've been dead for at least a few days. That's about all there is to do with the corpses. In the clothing, you can find a few sets of serviceable clothing, but nearby in one of the small boxes, there is something a little
thank you
more
so much for
interesting.
that,
Sadly,
my
you
friend.
do not find
Sorry,
the
I missed
black
that.
book
I
that
appreciate
you were searching
Mhm.
for.
So fucking cool.
And you do find a smattering of coin.
Hmm.
All right. Will, do we have you back?
I am back. And yes, also a big thank you again to Wobbs. Dude, that donation. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Was there anything substantive to that for our gameplay, or was that just him being
2
completely
magic surges to Josh and magic items. Oh, I think it's all for Josh. Magic items and 2 surges to encounter Josh.
Nice.
Oh, what manner of magic items is it?
I think he rolls off of a table, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it
So,
just sort of my call, or?
Just to confirm here, I see a Wubs of a donation, but Hunter and Wolf, I think, is talking about a different donation, which I haven't seen come through at the moment. Wubs
There's a
just
£100
donated 100.
donation.
Yeah,
Oh.
Wubs just donated £100 and hasn't said anything. But Wubs, if you want something to happen, just let me know.
Oh, okay, nothing. Nothing.
He says nothing specific. He just likes it. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Hey!
All right.
Thanks so much.
All right. Searching through.
You said I found something interesting? Yeah, sorry.
I did. Yes. So you find. You find an assortment of coins and small jewelry worth about 70 gold pieces total.
Huh.
And you find a little leather pouch inside which is a glass vial that contains a faintly luminous red liquid. And it doesn't take you much tinkering to figure out that that's a potion of healing.
I keep the potion for myself, but I'm intending on giving things to everybody else. So,
Sure.
I'm still scouting, but I don't want to go too much further since it's already a long distance in the room. I'll probably go about 15 feet and just keep an eye on things unless I hear my name being called for.
Okay, so you check out the rest of the room, and it looks like there's nothing else of interest and certainly nothing else of threat. Looking out the open doorway that you found, it looks like it opens into more of that cramped masonry tunnel stonework and just sort of goes off into the darkness.
I'll start heading back over to the party then.
Right. All right,
Kane
so
Kane is just looking after his bird, feeding it sort of scraps and checking to see if it's okay. And
Yes,
does
how
your
is
bird have a
bird?
name?
Yes, and what is its name? I'll ask us in character. How is your bird, and what's its name?
he seems sort of distracted and looks at you and you're gonna make me do it, aren't you? You're gonna make me.
I'm not asking you a yes or no
Okay.
question. You're going to have to speak. See what I did there?
I
Smart like that.
sigh deeply and show you there is a small name tag on its one of its claws.
Jerk.
I'm afraid I don't read that. I can't read that. It's very small from over here. What's his name?
I hold it to your face.
I don't read common.
Kane shrugs and walks off.
Jerk.
Comment, you would see that
Perhaps now is not the time to be screaming. I've gone and looked ahead as you requested, and there is more space. And all of this, she says, dumping the treasure in the middle of where everybody is approximately.
Beautiful.
So there's a
And let me just
scatter of silver, a few gold coins, and a few largish garnets kind of go bouncing onto the stones.
If there's
Okay.
one thing I've learned, Carrie, is that there's always time for screaming.
I think that
Kane just
perhaps
rolls his eyes.
one of your
In the sense of
kind
running
was
away.
here, or a kind like you. She says, looking at Kane and Riordan.
Oh dear.
Kane bristles and after cleaning his blade and sort of spending a few moments to calm down because he's just there's a lot of blood in here and it's all so good.
Kari will go
He-
up and pet your bird. Just kind of right in the
Screeches.
scratches.
All right,
for the
so you're scritching the bird. He sort of turns his head around with his little eagle owl horns sticking up off the top, and he sort of ruffles his neck feathers in enjoyment. Now that you guys are kind of up and checking out this owl, you will notice that it's normal. It has like a kind of a speckled brown and black with some lighter colors, sort of coloration. There is a great slash of black that fades to gray now, sort of across its chest and over one of its shoulders, down its wings to its to its longer feathers down there.
This displeases me. This displeases me greatly. I sort of spend a little time making sure that it's okay and sort of checking it over. I know my bird. This is my
Sure. So the bird is behaving agitated, but otherwise seems okay. And thanks to Kari's healing magic, seems none the worse for wear. And as you investigate that strange new mark on its feathers, those feathers have simply changed into those colors. There's
They've
nothing
lost
like
the
on
color.
it. There's nothing on it or marring it. The feathers have turned black and gray in that
Anonymous
great swath.
dispensation.
What is going on? Oh my gosh.
I am going
Thank you,
to
Wes.
present this to. Wait. Oh,
Holy. Another-
Whenever
Whoops,
Will
thank you.
disappears, he
And Will is
throws
gone
his
again.
money at us.
And Will's gone again.
Dude,
That's it.
staring at
People
Will
by
in
throwing
camera.
money. We
People
figured it
in-
out.
people enjoy Will's absence. This is what we've discovered.
This must be it. We just keep knocking him offline, and then we get more and more money.
The bad thing is, I'm pretty
Wait,
sure
you're
I heard
getting
something
paid?
get knocked. I heard something get knocked over, and I
So-
heard water spilling, and then I'm pretty sure Will cut out, and I'm like, oh god, please tell me I haven't cooked this
With
computer.
his brand new computer, if he just dumped water on it.
Right.
But big giant shout out to Wubbs. Thank you so much for another very generous donation. We do
Thank you
appreciate
again,
it.
Whoops.
We will get it all sorted out once we have a will. Hopefully not with a wet computer, because that would be bad. That would be very, very bad. Perhaps as bad as this dagger that I am trying to cast spells on. Oh, my computers. What
Speaking
secrets
of,
do you
you-
hold? Yes.
Speaking of Glaz, you finally complete your spellcasting, and the veil of secrecy parts in your mind, and the secrets of this dagger sort of flow into your knowledge. You know that this thing is called the Heart's Blood Chris. It is a magic
I like that
weapon that.
name.
Oh, good! It's a weapon that requires attunement. So you know that while you're attuned to it, you can use it as a spellcasting focus, even if you're a spellcaster who doesn't normally have the spellcasting focus rule. So that's a little Benny for anybody who isn't a wizard. And your saving throw DCs when you cast blood magic increase by 1. Additionally, when you cast a ritual spell, you can use the Chris as an additional material component in the casting, and when you do, the ritual only adds 1 minute to the casting time, not 10. And you can use that once before the next dawn. However, this blade is temperamental, and you realize that even attuned to it, even if you bind with its sort of magical essence, it will not function unless you bathe the blade in blood. If you feed
That
the
is
blade,
interesting.
it will function for you until the next dawn, when it will go dormant again and hungry.
Very interesting. So as Glaz finishes his ritual casting of this, he sort of is humming, and you hear him sort of making these humming sounds like instruments, a very sort of musical verbal components to his ritual casting. He goes, there you are, my dear. Well, aren't you just full of interesting secrets? I turn to the rest of the party. Well, she's a temperamental little weapon, she is. She is known as a Heart's Blood Chris. And for most of us who do use magic, it can be used to focus our spells, alleviating us for the need of all of the material components that are often necessary. It also is a very, very powerful when casting blood magic, and I look to Riodan. So perhaps it is very useful to you. However, for myself, with ritual casting, it does reduce the ritual time that it will take, but certainly I believe the blood magic is going to be far more interesting to yourself, or in fact even Kari. However,
She waves a hand at it.
Yeah. However, it does come at a price. It is a temperamental little mistress. Yes, she is. And she needs to be fed, much like you, my friend Leoden, with blood each and every day for her magic to work. Perhaps this item is best suited for you. But I will hold on to it until you make your decision, as I can see you are a little bit busy as he watches Ryoden licking the altar of its blood. That is still just so disturbing, my friend. But yes, it is a magical weapon, quite nice one as well.
Yep, there you have it. So Cloak, the dog, after you feed it some rations and give it, it will drink basically all the water you care to spare for it, and that seems to help give it some pep and some vitality back. And after a few moments, it stands up, maybe a little bit wobbly, and just comes over and just starts bathing your face in puppy kisses.
Is it a girl or a boy puppy?
I will let you pick.
I was talking to my friend who donated it to me, and
oh yeah! Oh my god! Sorry, I'm so slow on the uptake.
Are you kidding me, Josh? You just figured out it's the corgi?
I'm a dummy.
Yeah. I love you, Josh. It's a girl. And so she's like licking his face, and she's like really puffy, and he's like, I'm gonna call you Puff Puff. And he's like petting her. And so now he has a dog that is called Puff Puff, but it is a celestial mastiff. Or something.
The suggestion on there would that be it would be a celestial mastiff. Don't worry about the stats; I've got that taken care of. But as far as you can tell, it's kind of a disheveled looking, but excited sort of. Probably once it has maybe a little food in it, Lord knows how long it's been trapped down here in the dark, not being fed and watered properly. And its fur is kind of matted. There's just like mud and grime and cavern slime and probably some blood now just sort of matted in there. So it's really just a sight. But you can tell that there's this like almost golden retriever color fur under there that once she gets cleaned up, she'll probably be quite beautiful. But when you call her Puff Puff, she's sort of and like jumps her paws up on your shoulders.
Oh, Puff Puff, yay! Yay, we do the dancing, and then, and then you can see in the dark down here. Wait, no, there's light here. So,
there is indeed light here.
When we get out of here, we'll find a river and get you a bath, and maybe we can get a stick and you can play fetch, and then we got our business times.
So the dog grows more excited as it recovers a little bit and realizes it doesn't have to be in fear of its life at the moment. So the rest of you, as you are sort of discussing this new dagger that you found and divvying out some of the treasure, you can see something that you missed on your first pass, Kari. On sort of the far side of the room, there is a small lectern, like just a very simple wooden stand, and it's knocked kind of askew somewhere during the struggle, you're not sure, but laying in the shadows sort of behind it, you can see a book that has fallen sort of open pages down.
Pick that up. And is it a black book by chance?
It is. It is a small black leather bound book.
Kari, what do you have there? Have you found it? Is this what we came for?
She kind of dangles it in front of him teasingly, kind of like a cat toy. And as a matter of fact, it looks like I have found what we are looking for. And she tosses it and catches it.
Oh, good. We should get the fuck out of here.
I would have to say that I have to agree somewhat with my little friend here. And who is this that you have here?
Oh, that's Puff Puff. See, Puff, that's Glass. He's super smart.
So the dog just sort of pads over to you when Cloak talks and points, and it sort of noses forward and sniffs at your hand.
Aren't you the sweet little thing? And by just any of my studies, do I realize that it is a celestial dog, that it's a special dog?
It really doesn't look different enough right now for anything to sort of ping your awareness. Maybe once it gets cleaned up, something might be might be a little more apparent.
Just give it a scritch behind the ears, and well, it seems friendly enough, and does not seem to be certainly grateful for your saving him here. So, a good companion for you, I believe.
I think
Right.
so. I hope it can come to libraries with us. I mean, she hasn't been barking too loudly, so I think it'll be okay.
We should be fine. So I look around. If this is in fact what we came for, should we get the hell out of here, as my little friend said, or was there anything else that you found, Kari, as you took a loop around?
I found the blood-drained bodies of 4 victims over there. I concur with the little one. We should leave.
Yeah, Riordan, get your face out of that corpse. We're leaving.
Kane stands and he walks over and slips an arm underneath Riordan's sort of arm and drags him away from the blood. Sort of very much, you know, those moments where chaos breaks out and personal bodyguards like grab whoever they're charged with looking after, and sort of, yeah, he grabs Riordan and begins to sort of muscle him out the door.
Always.
All right, so as you guys are, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have one question. Who did anyone else pick up coins, or did Cloak just take them all? That's why I was doing this hand gesture.
I figured we were splitting, yeah.
Okay.
I know Kari gave it to everybody because she kept the 3 gems from the earlier episode. She's feeling a little bit of that guilt. So she's just like, here, everybody, have this stuff.
And actually, Glaz was in the middle of his ritual, so unless someone hands him some, he probably isn't aware that it was found. So I won't say that I grabbed any. You all can divvy it out however you'd like, because Glaz was busy.
I mean, Cloak would, if no one else grabbed anything, he would divvy it out after we got out of the cave. Not right now because it's not important. So
yeah,
just on the off time outside of the cave, he would divvy it up. I don't know how we want to divvy it up since it's 70 and there's 5 of us.
It's also in jewels and other stuff as well, not just straight coin.
Between episodes.
Let's leave first.
Yes.
I want none of it.
So-
I've taken it off my character sheet. It is no longer my problem. That is all on you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it written down so we can work it out. Like we would.
I'll work it out right now, and then
once you get back to the end.
Kane's not doing this at all. Kane just muscles Riordan out the door, like, doesn't have time for like people fussing over this stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So as these discussions are progressing, and Kane, you go to kind of help guide Riordan out of the area. He seems to be behaving a little bit strange. And you know, he seems a little off. It's difficult to put your finger on, but it's not something that you can really worry about too heavily right now. As you all make your way out of the just charnel house that this old chamber has become since you arrived, and even before, thanks to the activities of these strange black and white clad fellows, as you make your way out into the darkened tunnels, remember that unless you guys bring any light with you, you're in pitch black. So you find your way out into retracing your steps, which with your 2 survival crafty rangers and also Kari's expertise, you really don't have any chance of getting lost, just kind of tracing your way back out. All of you just sort of, well, not quite all of you. So we'll say this does not apply to Glaz and Kari. The rest of you have this just sort of like almost like a weight is settled over your shoulders, and it you kind of noticed it in the back of your mind while you were there, but you were still kind of buzzing on adrenaline and thrill of discovery on a couple of things, and just all of the craziness that happened during and after that battle. But as you go on, you just feel kind of like you're being drugged down a little bit, if you know what I mean. It feels like just kind of just a malaise has sort of settled over you. You're feeling off.
Mm.
And I will say that Rioden seems to be showing it much more heavily than the rest of you for whatever reason. He's gotten sullen, a bit quiet and withdrawn. He's kind of kept to himself. He doesn't really converse, and he doesn't even really seem to be paying much attention to his surroundings as he walks.
Can I roll a medicine to see if the blood he drank was drugged?
Sure.
I just want to see if I would pick that up. Let's see. I got a 3.
3. It's possible. It's hard to say. Those cults do crazy stuff, right? So they might have had their sacrifice victim all hopped up on who knows what. But, you don't smell anything in any of the blood that, splashed on you.
Rioden's really high right now.
Is this from my time with Tia in the Shadow Realm? I'm sorry, Shadow Realm, right? Yeah, Shadow Realm. Is this similar? Is it something that I'm recognizing is that becoming shadow touched? I think I have
well,
words,
remember,
right?
so you're not feeling any of this right now yourself, Glass.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and let you make a wisdom insight check.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
I love that Dan calls out what it is for each one. Wisdom, insight.
There are no skill checks in 5th edition. There are ability checks to which skills might apply.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, it's a 6 for me, so yeah, I'm not picking up on anything. I was
Not picking. Yeah, you're
Shooting in the dark, my friends.
right now you're kind of just pinging through formula as you feel like you're basically on the verge of a breakthrough, and there were a couple of runic connections that you weren't quite sure how to make on your map, and you think you've got it figured out. As soon as you get some time to settle down, you think you've got the piece that was eluding you for now. So
Okay.
that's sort of where your mind is at the moment. And so you can kind of backtrack through the tunnels, through the old cistern chamber where you fought the shadows, and nothing remains of them. Their essence just completely dissolved away once you slew them. You make your way back through the room where the cultists originally ambushed you. The cultists and acolytes with their ink and tattoos marking their faces. And you make your way back out into the cartways, past the bodies of the hired thugs that you slew, and you take a moment, Kane, thinking back, and you check their necks, and they are indeed all branded members of the Black Shields.
I will sort of point this out to Cloak as we go past, just that, once again, they are all confirmed. I might actually take a quick moment. They're branded. I know we're leaving quickly, but Kane will stop and draw his knife. Can I cut the brand from his skin?
Yeah, you want to take one? Sure.
Yeah, cool.
No problem.
Kane just sits down and
You just kind of grab a hold of it, pull it up so the skin stretches up, and then just one razor slice. You have a patch of skin with a brand on it.
sweet.
Human bacon.
Long
Cracklins.
pig.
All right, so you guys backtrack your way to a ladder that leads up to a trap door that that above there is just sort of an abandoned building that's almost all collapsed in the sort of in the lower Zobeck district near to the Cobalt Ghetto, in an area that's pretty rough, pretty worn down, and quite neglected. So you can make your way up the ladder and out into at this point, you guys did a long rest, so we'll probably say glaring morning sun that stabs at Kari's eyes, and she feels it prickling her flesh.
Oh,
Mm.
She takes time to adjust slowly.
Yeah, the adjustment, unfortunately, as you've come to realize in the lighted world of Midgard, is very minimal. It seems that you're just not accustomed to the presence of the sun.
I try to bear with it, telling myself that, just like the shadow takes over people that cross over, so eventually I too will come to deal with this. At least that's what she believes. Whether or not it's true
That would be
doesn't
nice.
matter, but yeah.
That would be nice.
It would be nice, just like a certain Dark Elf Ranger that magically got to get rid of his... no big deal.
Yeah, well, he came up in second ed when they were allowed to acclimate. All right, so Cloak, as you make your way up the ladder, you have a moment, and you're like, oh, wait, Puff Puff. And you go to look to try and figure out a way to get Puff Puff out a ladder, because, Hound can't really climb one. It's not stairs. You look, and there she is, standing at the top of the trap door, tail just going.
Oh, how'd she do that? No, she must have known a secret passage. Okay, that's the only explanation.
Can I roll Arcana?
Sure.
11.
And I will actually give you advantage on this.
Okay, let's give that other roll. Oh, 18.
All right, so there's no way in hell this dog just found a secret passage to get up a ladder. Something very strange is at work here. And it looks like it just managed to get from one place to somewhere else, just on its own.
She should have gotten down here some way, so she probably knew a different way to get up there.
And he's just climbing up the ladder.
Okay.
I'll follow
yeah, but
him.
something strikes you. Something is very odd about this dog. Okay. Yep. So you all come up into the just basically it's a kind of a roofless walls remains of a building, and you step out into what is relatively fresh air, since the wind is blowing in a favorable direction at the moment.
Oh, God, that's so good. Oh.
You step out onto the streets of Zobeck, and you can see that at this point in the morning, business is bustling now. People are out and about. There is just sort of a cooling breeze, and you can see over the rooftops and through the upper district, where the larger, more rich buildings sit on the hill. You can see distant the brooding black stain of Castle Shadowcrag about a mile to the north, just sort of glowering down at the city of Zobeck.
So Cloak would kind of walk out before everyone and go
Well, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to go to the tavern, or you want to go rest at the inn? I mean, we had a pretty long night.
The closest place to you from here would be the Wheat Chief Tavern.
You're muted.
I'm muted?
No, Jay's muted.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
back to the wheat sheep. That would be a good spot. And for my friend Kari here, out of the harsh shadows, back into the shadows, out of the harsh light of day.
Yes, indeed.
She
They
seems
do
like
have
she's
that one
almost
dark
getting a
corner
headache
there.
from it.
Hey, do you want to wear my
Right.
mask?
I have tried masks before, my friend. Unfortunately, there is nothing that saves me from the sun.
Yeah, so Kari, you can pull your hood up to get a little bit of shade and respite, at least so it's not stabbing at your eyes, and kind of draw your cloak around you, which helps a little bit, but it's still it's like when you walk around, it's the sun glare is just ramped up and everything is very saturated, right? It's like this, all colors are kind of washed out because this light is just glaring off of everything around you.
So I suddenly become Starfire and hide inside my cloak. Oh, okay.
So, like-
Someone, please. One person.
Oh,
I-
you know that.
I figured- I figured you meant Raven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to
I was
say.
like,
Raven would be the-
Snarfire is like happy sunshine and rainbows, and I was like,
Yeah.
Other
All
way
right.
around.
So,
Anyway, back
Cloak,
to-
you know
back
that
to
the
D&D.
yes, Cloak, you know that the Wheat Sheaf is going to be the closest place, but you also know it's not the safest. It's kind of if you need a smuggler or you want to hire some rough hands for some illegal work, that's kind of the place you go. You guys will probably be fine. You're a well-armed group who has very recently seen some action. Unless someone's stupid or desperate, they're not going to screw with you. But it is a bit of a
hired
rougher
us?
place.
Yeah, that's
hired
what I
us
was
to
going
get
to
the
We have
book.
Yes. So you were hired by one of the magisters at the Arcane Collegium.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, we could just go there and then go to
Sure.
a fancier place after, because
You
I don't
could.
want to go to the shady place. But we could go to the shady place. I have plans.
It's up to you.
I would perhaps turning in the book to get paid. I assume.
I'm
For,
flipping through the pages of the book, kind of reading it as I'm underneath.
Okay,
my
so
cloak.
you pop open the book and you sort of like pull your hood down even farther to shadow it, because when you first look at it, it's just this sign of kind of searing white from the sunlight glaring off of it. You can't even see the writing. So on the inside cover, you can make out in a very sort of spidery hand in black ink is inscribed "The Musings of Werner Strauss." I'm sorry, the Ruminations of Werner Strauss.
Do I recognize the name at all?
You can make me an intelligence history check.
It's a 19.
A 19. Oh, hello.
Right.
Yes, you definitely recognize the name Strauss. They were a merchant family, quite a powerful merchant family, and about
He's the cutest!
80. He's
Sorry.
pretty darn good. No, it's good. About 90 years ago, they were ruling Zobeck. And in fact, they were ruling from the great ruin, what is now a ruin of Castle Shadowcrag to the north, sitting up on that hill. And 90 years ago, there was a revolt against their tyrannical rule, and the people rose up against them, and the temples of Rava, in conjunction with aid from the dwarven cantons, created the Gearforged, the construct people housing the souls of once living men and women, and a great battle and struggle against the Strauss turned the tide, and they were cast out and overthrown. And you know that they were accused of diabolism and of trucking with shadow powers and pledging themselves to the shadow realm, which, I mean, you know that mortals doing that are inevitably basically doomed.
Did she mention any of this out loud?
I would have mouthed his name out loud. It was Strauss, sorry?
Strauss, Stross.
Ruminations of Strauss. There was a name before that, though.
Werner.
Werner Strauss.
Werner.
So the rune
W-E-R.
from Castle the revolt against the rule, temples of Rava in conjunction with the dwarves of who?
The dwarves of the Iron Crag Cantons, mountains to the
big
west
mountains.
of here. Yep, big mountains to the west of here.
I still have to read my world book.
Kane can tell you all about the Iron Crags.
Oh, I can tell you about the Iron Cracks. They're like, it's like Airbnb that you can never leave, never fucking leave, and it's terrible. And
Okay.
How'd you get out?
So this is the
Well, he did it 10
ruminations of
years.
Werner Strauss. In the ruins from Castle Shadowcrag, they revolted against the rule in the temples of Rava in conjunction with the dwarfs in the Iron Crag Mountains that created the Gearforged, and eventually they will turn the tide against Werner Strauss. I know that these people pledged themselves to the Shadow Realm, and they did diabolism as frequently as they could, I'm guessing.
yeah,
Well, you know.
Did I
Once
get
or
all
twice.
of that as frequently as
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the broad strokes.
Okay, I will reiterate all of that after I am done reading it.
Kane-
Close the book.
Kane turns on you the second you say the word Strauss and is
I ca-
like in your face.
Well, that's good. He'd have to be because I wouldn't notice because I'd be looking down at the book and she kind of like tears up and is.
Yeah, it's like maybe a cloud passed in front of the sun because it's a little bit nicer. You get a little bit of reprieve, and then you look up and no, Kane's just looming over you.
I did not write the book. She says, taking the opportunity to give the owl a
he
scratch
doesn't
on the
look-
head.
He doesn't look angry. He just looks concerned, and he holds his hand out, palm flat.
Yep.
Go upstairs.
I hold my arm out for the owl to see if it'll come to me. Well, I give him the
I'll
book.
trade you the owl.
Oh yeah, finally, fucking owl time, yeah, buddy.
Fucking owl time. Yeah.
She likes animals.
If you guys want to go like get breakfast or something, so you guys can like read that book and then we can turn it in. I don't care.
What do we? Well, was it? Yeah,
I mean,
was
they
this
might-
was our
They might
contract
have to say
to
something
sight
along those lines
unseen?
about-
Yes, was our contract for sight unseen, or should we see what we can glean from this? Dan,
There was no stipulation about what you were to do with the book. You were just hired to retrieve it. You know
should
that
make a copy of the book.
You know that the
Just in
book
case.
was stolen from a sort of a restricted collection. So there's probably something in there that they want to keep her wraps on. Now, particularly once she starts talking about Strauss, yeah, I mean that pings, right? You've learned about the Strauss
library. I mean, that's from where I grew up, was the Strauss library in Mount.
Yep.
So yeah, me hearing it, I'd be like, that. Well, it is going to be very interesting, or it is going to be very dangerous once we start reading that book.
Probably both.
Yes. Are we prepared to take on? Once something is learned, it is very hard to unlearn it. And once people know you have learned something, they don't want you to know it. They are going to try to make sure that it doesn't spread any further. We could be asking for trouble, but he just sort of raises his eyebrow and looks at everyone with a smirk.
What are you wondering about, Cloak?
I want to look to see if someone has taken notice, because he's talking about once we learn something, strikes Cloak's paranoia. Like all of a sudden he's like, "Are they watching us?" And then he's like looking around.
So you're just kind of looking around to see if any of the passersby are like taking note of you, paying attention, that sort of thing.
Yeah, or anyone from that like hired us from when we took the job is like watching what we're doing right now.
Okay, so so are you like watching the crowd, or are you looking for hidden people who might be spying on you? Because there are people going back and forth about their morning business.
Not so much the crowd, people trying to hide.
Okay, go ahead and make me a wisdom perception check.
All right, here we go. Fucking nope. Crit fail.
All right. It looks like you guys are just sort of you kind of got out of the little old decrepit building that you entered the cartways through, and then maybe got like half a block down, and then just sort of petered out with your walking, and then all the bustle happened because of the book. So looking around, it looks like nobody has really paid you any mind. And you don't see any like lurking figures in alleyways or peeking out from behind shutters in windows.
Glaz with his
watching us right now.
I sort of look around and look at Cloak. I do have a sort of midpoint option if we'd like to go halvesies with this. If we find someplace quiet, I can take about 10 minutes and see if there is any magic that is still lingering upon this book, which could perhaps bring more trouble than we were expecting. Whereas if it is just a book, as long as we do it discreetly, perhaps we can, see what was so interesting for someone to send us down into the cutways for this.
I mean, we could just go back to that abandoned building. No one was in there.
That is true. I look to our companions. Do we want to take a few moments with this back in the building which we were in? get you out of the sun for a moment.
Kari is all
Kari.
about going back inside. She immediately starts walking over that way, like, "Oh, this is a fantastic idea."
I'm
Kane,
gonna
my
start
friend?
rolling deception really loudly. I'm gonna really. I'm gonna
Rolling
start saying.
loudly.
I'm rolling loudly over here. What is a deception? I'm being like,
Oh my God. Kari is just so exhausted from the sun because she's been in a nice cool cave all this evening. We should put her back inside.
So you're basically trying to misdirect anyone who might be listening to you.
yeah, a 13. Cloak is
All right,
also
so-
turned paranoid when he hits civilization again.
Okay, so I need you to roll that charisma deception check with disadvantage, please.
Okay. So let's. That was a 13 for that first roll.
Sure.
And it's a 12 for the second one.
Okay. So 12, I believe, is your. He's just kind of, like, oh no, so tired. All right. So you've put that misdirection out there. If anybody's been listening to you, hopefully they'll be thrown off the scent.
Yes,
I
because
hope
we
so.
are so subtle. Two Dampier, a Shadow Fae, and a Trollkin, because I do not blend. But I turn us back around and head us back to the building so I can ritually cast Detect Magic on the book.
Okay, so just kind of back into the shell of the building, or around the side.
And someplace where there's some shade out of the direct sunlight for Kari. I don't think going back down to the trapdoor is a good idea, but that's up to you, Tia.
Mm-hmm. I have a silk rope and grappling hook, so whichever way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and start casting away. Again, laying out the skin and arranging the stones and placing the book in the center of it to see if there's any residual magic.
Okay, so the 10 minutes passes. The rest of you just kind of hanging out and watching.
I'm just kind of watching people go by and that kind of stuff. So
I'm hanging out with the animals.
All right.
Yeah, I'm actually plus with you right now.
And Cloak is sort of like shifting his weight from one foot to the other, kind of nervously as he watches people go by. All right, so the 10 minutes pass, and you feel the spell take effect, and you begin sweeping your senses around for any traces of magic. Obviously, you detect any of the magic items in your possession, like the key, the new dagger, the potion.
Mm-hmm.
But the book itself does not reveal any magical auras, so there is no active magic on it.
Well, this is good news. It's just a book, so it's not going to be cursed or plague us with some horrible memories or flashbacks or whatever scary things. The scholars at EMEA, the seniors, love to play tricks on the freshmen by cursing their books. It is not much fun, but this seems to be clear. So if we want to read it, we can just give it a perusal. But again, I figure we should probably sitting here in this building is probably nothing. In that case, we probably should head to the Wheat Sheaf and read it there, or to the College Arcanum. For me, a little adventure. You never know where the ley lines may call you, and this has fallen into our possession with. Concerning a family that we are all seem to be somewhat familiar with. Perhaps we are being led.
So as you satisfy yourself that there's no active magic on the book, as you sort of move it, you see that it leaves a shadow behind that kind of follows after it to your enhanced senses. Just like almost leaving this like tracer trail just a half second out of sync with it. And that kind of catches your attention. And you look again, and you're pretty satisfied that there's no magical aura, but when you move it, there's that faint tracer of black.
Huh. Now that I did not notice.
What?
Have I seen anything like this before? I mean, is this anything I've experienced with?
Sure. Why don't you make me an intelligence arcana check? We'll see how well you can suss it out. But you've seen similar sorts of things.
Yeah. Whether I want to do a full identify on this. just to be on the safe side. Give me one moment, please, as I bring up. We are doing Arcana, you said?
Yes.
Oh, that's a dirty 20.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you've seen similar sorts of effects when you were on your archaeological digs, particularly when you're looking at Vril artifacts. Occasionally things that either were magic once or that had been around magic or associated with these things heavily might pick up these almost lingering traces. So that's what seems to be going on here. And that the way that shadow follows it, it's very clearly some manner of shadow magic trace. But it is not any sort of active spell or enchantment or anything like that.
Now there, I should have known. That shadow, if I can point it out to everybody else, you see, it is not magic now, but it is either was magic at one point or was in the presence of such strong magic for such a long time that it has picked up an echo, perhaps is the best way to describe it, of that magical power. It is definitely worth us possibly investigating what this contains.
That sounds like shadow magic of my people traveling over the realms, doesn't it, from his exact description?
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds like it has been tainted with shadow magic.
That would be
Can I
a
use
good
the word
guess.
tainted? It's
Um,
not. It's
touched.
my realm, so touched.
You would probably say touched. Yeah.
It's been touched by shadow magic.
You mean tainted?
I sort of look
She
back and
turned a
forth. And
cross
it's like,
eye on him for the first time ever, and it's just like...
He's just smiling like,
now.
All right.
But yes, this is your area of expertise, Kari. You are more familiar with it than I. It very easily could be shadow magic that has left this mark upon this book.
If I try to view the book in dark vision or in different forms of light or anything like that, like candlelight, kind of spend some time experimenting with it, does it do anything, reveal any different hidden pages, texts, anything that I would think to do for shadow magic?
You would probably want to be somewhere kind of indoors to do that, since a lot of that
And
will be
darker.
spoiled just by the ambient sunlight. Doing it at night would probably be best.
You should look at this at night.
Yes. Certainly under different stars, different conditions, different magics have different power. Well, I think our decision is made then. To the wheat sheaf, and perhaps get some rooms, some privacy, and do a little afternoon reading. And
Glaz, you also know that there is a nicer tavern that's actually right across from the Collegium itself, called the Hedgehog, that's run by an ex-Collegium
I know this
member.
place.
Yeah.
Yes. Or we could go to some
Nicer.
of my old...
It'll be much nicer, safer, but people will be there'll be Collegium students there. There might be Collegium faculty there. There'll be people who are more likely to maybe recognize some of the stuff for what it is. So up to you how you want to approach that.
I have an idea. A little safer, a little nicer. We just need to take a moment to carefully hide anything that we don't want prying magical eyes to take a look at. But we could head to the Hedgehog, which is right there, all but across the street from where we have to deliver this anyway. My old stomping grounds, in fact. Actually, no, they aren't. Would I? Yes. I know of this place.
Yeah.
Yes, I know of this place. I have not been in town long, but I would have known.
You would know of it. I mean, it would have been one of the first places you sought out. So
yes. So perhaps there, a little bit nicer, a little safer for what we want to do.
Okay.
I'm just making sure. The Hedgehog, right?
Yeah, the Hedgehog.
Hog's Head. I'm sorry, Hedgehog, not the Hog's Head.
Hedgehog.
I will try to hide my shadow fey nature as much as possible, as much as my cloak allows. Can I hide my horns and stuff?
It's
Here,
not
it's okay,
unheard of
right?
for Shadow Fae. It's not unheard of for Shadow Fae to walk around Zobeck.
But a shadow fade,
basically
two
of-
Dampiers, and a gnome walking around
Oh,
together.
you're-
I'm
you're-
trying to like play down the grandiose nature of our party, I
Well,
guess.
I would say
You
I'm
are
actually probably
definitely
Yeah.
stranger.
Okay. Yeah.
You
I
are
was gonna say, aren't
definitely
I the
strange
strangest
company.
thing?
You guys are
Yeah.
definitely strange company. Yeah, I would say that Glaz is probably the most attention gathering and the most out of place, but Trollkin are known here as well. So, I mean, there are Trollkin mercenaries or craftsmen that come through. So,
Okay.
I mean, if you guys want to go to the hedgehog, I mean, that's fine. But, I mean,
What's the most population? Human here? Kobold?
definitely. Well, I mean, in the city in general, definitely human.
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
right on the edge of the kobold ghetto, so that's all kobold all the time in there.
yeah, I mean, like, for the most part, yeah, we stick out because everyone's mostly human, and humans are nosy. So,
I both eyebrows raised. Look at Cloak. Humans are nosy, as Cloak has been basically bugging me since we first met about every little thing that you can possibly learn.
I call that a childlike curiosity. They're nosy, okay? There is a difference.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Tomato, tomato.
At one point, Riodan will pipe up and say, "If you want a safe place to go, darlings, we could go to the Silk Scabbard."
Is that a,
Kane
is that
that's
a,
rolls his
interesting.
eyes
Is that a-
like,
is that one of those fuck houses? What is that?
I love
someone
you.
clip that right now. Someone that right the
Well,
fuck now.
Oh
Or,
my heavens!
I was gonna say we are after
Yes.
8 p.m. I guess it's okay.
It's fine.
So,
it's an 18+ channel. We can say fuck houses, whatever.
So, Kane, you know that it is indeed a fuckhouse, but it is a reputable one at least. And that's not their only stock and trade. They are also a tavern and inn that have some services available.
Kane nods.
Do we all know that it's a brothel, or does just...
Probably at this point, just Riodan and Kane. I don't think the rest of you have been around long enough to have run into this place. Unless you decide
No,
you frequent such places, and then it's possible.
I only question it because Ryuden talks about like being with women all the time. So he's like very much like Cloak is like,
Yeah, okay. I mean, is it, what part of town is that in?
Kane, Kane will lead. Kane knows.
Yeah. So you lead the way, and you know it's not too far from here, as it happens. It is... It's right about where Lower Zobeck, which is the district you're in, kind of is at the junction between that and Upper Zobeck, right near the Kobold Ghetto. So it's right by where you are.
Oh, it's right here.
Did you say Kobold Ghetto?
Yeah, the Kobold Ghetto.
That's some,
Yep.
that's some good imagery there.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, they were at one point enslaved by the Strauss family to work the mines and ply their gear grinding trades and tinkering trades. And in the they still do, absolutely. But now they enjoy all the rights of freedom. But they still have their little quarter of the city down on the southern end next to the river. Oh, hello there. What's going on, buddy? Go to bed. Love you. Sorry. There you go. Little cut. We're all good. Yeah, but the Kobold Ghetto was. They were just kind of all forced into this very densely packed, densely populated, and very dense and dark section of the city. You know that in there, the buildings are actually set up so their eaves touch over the very narrow streets, so no sunlight reaches the city streets there. So you can lead the way, Kane, to the Silk Scabbard, which is not too far. So a few minutes later, you guys find yourselves looking at sort of a nondescript building, nondescript two-story building.
Is there a guy on the door? Is it that kind of, or can we just walk in?
You know that there is kind of a. There's not so much a guy at the door as it is like an entryway, and they have to let you in.
Kane
So it's almost
just-
like it's almost kind of like an airlock.
Yeah, Kane will walk up to, the entranceway.
Okay.
Step inside, rap on the other door.
Okay, so you head up, and there's a reinforced metal door with a little slide plate. And so, I'm sorry, this is like, you step in through a normal-looking door into like a little foyer, and then there's this steel door. You rap on it, bang, bang, and the portal slides open, and you can see some eyes in there kind of glance around and take in everyone who's present. I believe you and Rio down are front and center. So there's a little bit of a nod. The window slides shut, and then you can hear a sudden clicking, clattering, and clanging of clockwork and gears as this metal panel slides open and bids you inside. So as you make your way in, the very first thing you smell is sort of a very light kind of perfumed incense that mingles with the smell of freshly cooked food, and maybe just a hint of sort of a more pungent smoke, maybe something someone's smoking for recreation. And you can hear music and just sort of low conversation and occasional laughter sort of wash into the entryway. And you make your way inside, and there is a kill station. You don't need to worry about that.
Whoa!
Sorry, there's just something about a location labeled kill station that's super fun.
Excuse me.
Yeah, for the DM, maybe.
It is. You guys are reputable guests. You have nothing to worry about. So the door opens up, and you can see basically a small common room. There are tables. Two sort of large round tables, around which one of them there's a grouping of just sort of a grab bag of people from different walks of life. Some of them look fairly well dressed, others look very plain, and they seem to be playing cards. And there are stacks of money sort of sliding around the table, and they have drinks and a little bit of food next to them. There's a bar standing nearby where you can see sort of a man wearing a long coat and sort of a narrow-brimmed felt hat. He's tall and kind of whipcord thin, middle-aged toward the later end of middle age. But the way he moves, all of you can tell immediately that this is a man who knows how to handle himself in a fight. He is just sort of amiably pouring drinks at the moment for the patrons who come up, and kind of leaning on the bar and making chit-chat with them. And you can see some booths against the south wall, and in the far side, it looks like there are even fighting arenas or pits or stages, things that can be repurposed for various forms of entertainment.
Corey sticks to the back of the group, kind of overwhelmed by all of this stuff, and waits for the others to take the lead.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cloak is kind of like standing back there too, just like looking at everyone.
This was your idea.
Glaz is being very socially just not, he doesn't clue in. He just kind of marches right in, being socially kind of oblivious, kind of looks at Rio then like this is any other tavern, and goes, so shall we go get the room for us, and so we can head up and have some privacy.
Kane holds out a cautioning hand and leans in and says,
Brothel.
Hold on. I speak Trollkin. Fuck house.
I point to Cloak.
Yes, but so there's a room is here, right? For us to we still need a room to go and take care of things, whether we have company or not. Yes, this is not a big deal, or is this a big deal?
So as you guys are talking, you see another human man sort of come from around the backside of one of the booths carrying a now empty tray, and he heads for the bar. And he is just a beefy fellow with a shaved head, and his appearance is very neat, and he wears a sleeveless vest with no shirt underneath it, which shows off just intricate tattoos rippling over his biceps and down his forearms. He has a thick black mustache, and he gives you just sort of a nod as he looks over and sees you, and he goes behind the bar, talks quickly with the thin man, and they kind of exchange places. The thin individual in the long coat and the felt hat sort of makes his way over, nods now and then to some of the patrons, and then casts his eyes on you. He walks up, kind of spreads his hands, and as he gets closer, you can see that there are rings on his fingers, gold and jewels, and his clothing is all very fine. It's silk. His coat is like brocade. His boots are shiny, polished leather, and you can hear some metal clicking against the floor as he walks. And he sort of nods his head once and says, "Kane, Riodan, it's been a little while. Welcome back."
Do I recognize this guy?
Sure. You recognize him immediately as the proprietor of the place. This is Tyron.
I just nod to him, and I'm gonna. Can I get some drinks at the bar?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, you just nod to him. He sort of returns the nod and doesn't really pay much attention to the rest of you, and just sort of waves his hand toward the interior, and then heads back toward a doorway next to the bar, leading into the back.
Strange question. Is Kari familiar with the concept of brothels yet? Or,
certainly.
Because she
I would
was
think so.
okay.
Well, I mean,
I had the same question for Cloak. I mean, like, did the Wormwood have brothels?
I mean, they have cities that work just like any other cities. So,
Okay.
I mean, sure, the concept is there, and you've been abroad for a while, so yeah, you're aware of the concept. However you wish to delve into those is up to you. And Kari, you'll know that there is a small, out of the way settlement in the heart of the Shadow Phase realm within the Shadow Realm that's known as Dalliance, that is renowned for its ability to provide any pleasure you wish and can pay for, and its ability to keep that discreet.
Kari starts looking around the room for something to keep discreet later then.
All right. So as you make your way in and you head up to the bartender, the massively muscled dude with the shaved head and the tattooed arms, he kind of grins this toothy grin at you under his big black mustache and says, "Welcome. What'll I get you?"
I look to my
question.
companion.
So he just kind of stares at Kane for a second, like waiting expectantly for him to say something, and then he goes, "Hail for you, friend."
Kane gives him a shit-eating grin, just like, "You bastard," and yeah, just like one, and I point to Reardon to get him as usual as well.
I believe it's a red wine for Riordan. He seems like the type.
Yes.
Sure.
Cloak.
Question. I want to. I wonder how much it would to get like a tub, and you guys fill it with like heated water, so I can give my dog a bath.
Well,
Also, I drink water, and I want a bowl of water, a cup and a bowl.
he kind of looks at the dog, looks at Cloak, looks over at Kane, and just kind of quirks an eyebrow, like, "Serious?" All right. All right. Keep the dog on its best behavior, and we have no problems, my little friend. Yes?
Yeah, we known each other a super long time. It's okay. She's very well trained.
Excellent. Well, if you want a room, that can be arranged as well, and we can arrange for a bath. So he pours
a
water.
room
He
would
pours
be-
whatever drinks you guys order. and he sets those out for you, and he says, "If you need anything, my name is Drajan."
Drajan.
Rashawn.
Great name. So yes, you said a room. Well, in fact, a room would be nice, and if the bath is in it, so we could do some wash up on the pup, that would be. So how much would a room for us be?
So he quotes you just standard prices for lodgings. So
Okay.
You can
I
look those
imagine,
up real
like,
quick. And
bronze or silver. Cloak, this is what he would do, would put down 1 gold coin and be like, "Yeah, we just need the room for the until probably the evening time, right, Kari? The evening, and then we're good."
She looks
Sure.
around the room and goes, I may need a bit longer.
Do you need your own room?
yeah. So just a room. This is essentially a comfortable inn. So it's 8 silver pieces for a day's stay. If you want any other services, it will be more.
For me,
How
just
much?
a room. 8 silver altogether, right? Plaz will. Well, you put a
Yeah,
gold
I mean,
on the
I
counter,
put
so
a
yeah.
gold coin. I was like,
So that'll-
Yeah, I just want the room. Glass, we can split a room. I don't know what they want to do.
I
Kari's got a
poke
weird
you
look in
because
her
I know
eye.
you had the gold and I kind of hold my hand out. I don't want to break the gems
okay.
that I stole from the party.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot, and I give you 14 gold, and then
Okay.
anyone else, I split up the money. I was like,
Yeah,
I totally forgot. I'm sorry, the 14.
I take 12, put 2 on the counter.
Okay.
I put
Give him
3
a
on the
nod.
counter.
I put 4 on the counter. Fuck you.
Plaz is just. Did you not hear him correctly? He was saying that it was 8 silver, and you were putting down quite a bit of gold.
No,
I
Glass,
I waved to both the girls. I'm
Glass,
like,
Glass,
Whatever,
I'll explain
guys.
it later.
But
There,
if the room is only 8 silver, I do not understand. Oh,
Glass.
whatever. Look, as you drag me off.
I
What?
look over to
Why are you
Kane and
dragging
give
me
him a
away?
wink.
Oh,
and
no,
fine,
kind
you
of
go
wave
up a bit
sometimes
to the
people just want to meet each other, but they don't want it to happen during natural means. They want you to pay money. And he's walking upstairs, explaining prostitution to Glass.
I get like.
So it's kind of like a
Eventually-
tutor. Kind of like how we
Yeah.
had to pay for tutors back at school. Oh, I get that now. Yes, they are quite
I-
expensive to get a tutor.
My student debt is through the roof, Glass, and I get off. And I
Oh, goodness.
Kari doesn't actually drink, but she takes part in the house's people.
The house has a wide variety of peoples, both men and women, and several of various different racial stocks as well. So there are humans, there is an elf marked, half elf, there are dwarves, and so there's quite a bit to choose from if you have a particular fancy, and you can avail yourself of that for the day with no problem. If anyone wants companionship, that's going to run you an extra 2 gold.
Yep,
That's why I put 3 gold
Yeah.
down.
Right. So you'll be set then.
Tutors, right?
so-
and women.
So
Yeah,
they
we
will.
carry through it by. It's good.
All right.
Sorry.
No problem. So who all is taking advantage of the rooms and companionship? Just so Kari, anybody else?
I'm planning on reading.
Yeah.
Reading.
Of course you are.
Okay.
Of course you
I'm
are.
reading.
Yes.
I'm
It's
I'm
not like we're
bathing
out
the
there
dog.
potentially dying.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm bathing Puff Puff, and then I'm gonna join Glaz in reading.
Okay.
Yes.
No problem. All right. So you guys have a good plenty of time to wash away some of the troubles that you encountered down in the cartways and refresh yourselves one way or the other. So
is this
The
is
puppy.
this going to be our long rest?
well, you can only take 1 long rest per 24 hours, so you'll have to wait until
Oh, okay.
tonight to actually take a long
Cool,
rest.
that's fine.
But this is,
No
I mean, you
problem.
can kind of just basically spend the
Yeah.
day scrubbing off battle and, death and all of that
Perfect.
horribleness.
Yeah,
All right,
perfect.
so washing the dog, you end up with a tub just full of filthy water and sludge. And once you wash all of that grime out of its fur, and she just sort of sits there, stands or sits alternately as you need, doesn't fight you at all, and seems to be thoroughly enjoying the scrubbing.
Okay, awesome. I imagine, is it kind of like a system where like I can drain the water and then like pull a lever and then like more water comes in, like heated water, so I can like get a rotation of water. Yeah, he probably
they essentially have some plumbing, not quite as extensive as we have, but yes, you can pull in new heated water.
I'm always amazed at Zobeck and the wonderful inventions they have here.
One of the lovely things about living in Zobeck is they have things like clockwork doors.
I mean, that's super amazing. I remember, it's better than cleaning in a river. But I mean, don't forget, clean up and make sure you clean your wounds too, because you don't want it to get like all stinky and then your arm falls off.
Yes, that's good advice. It's interesting to see things happening without just always being done by magic. Bimia was just magic everywhere, so it is quite interesting. But yes, it is good to go ahead and bathe. I must say, my friend Cloak, back at school, I was, I always stood out, of course, but I also seemed to be like the strongest and the heartiest of all of my fellow wizards. I'm finding that is not the case here. You, quite frankly, saved my life twice. I thank you for that.
No problem, man. I mean, we study together, and so like we got to make sure that we learn as much as like we can, and like there's so much to learn, and like you're my learning buddy, because obviously with the other ones they are not
they're easily
studying.
distracted, I have found. Yes, by tutors, right? But yes, so I do appreciate. I think I need to learn to not. Whereas back at school, I always was the one running in first. Maybe perhaps I should stand back a little further next time.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, even I got knocked down, and I could take a hit, and they hit me pretty hard. I tell you. And then I think it's something to do with how hardy I am. I just jumped back up, or maybe Corey healed me. But I don't know which one is to say for sure. But. And then I imagine Cloak's like cleaning off the dog. Is it like all of a sudden there's like a shimmer to the fur?
So it's like, as you guys are talking, you kind of look back over and do keep in mind, Loke, as you're doing your thing, you still have that just kind of almost like just that inexplicably shitty day weight just sort of bearing down on you.
Okay.
And that doesn't really go away. So that just sort of kind of sticks with you. It's like you're just having a real off kind of down day.
Okay.
But you look over, and yeah, as the mud and blood and catacomb grime has cleared away from this poor dog, it has this just luminous golden brown fur that almost seems to sparkle a little bit in the lamplight.
I have a shiny puppy.
So her tongue sort of lolls out in a big doggy grin, and her eyes, now that you can kind of see them clearly, are silver, like almost metallic looking. Without getting up close, it might kind of pass off as sort of a bluish-eyed dog, which isn't terribly unheard of. But now you're kind of scrubbing her face off. You're getting right up in there. Her irises glitter with this metallic sheen.
Your puppy is beautiful, Cloak.
It's shiny. I mean, this is. I don't.
Can I roll nature?
Yes, with advantage.
Yeah,
All right.
Is this kicking in anything from my studies of the arcane or from old civilizations or things like that?
I don't think this one
fine.
intersects your areas of study terribly much.
That's cool.
I got a 14.
A 14. So you remember hearing just kind of vague stories of these strange hounds that would sometimes be seen roaming the woods. Not necessarily the wormwood, sometimes, but not for a long, long time. Not since before all of the since before the bargain with grandmother collapsed, of these strange hounds that were said to walk between worlds. And some of these descriptions are tricking, are kind of, some of these features are tripping your description, your memory of these stories.
So you know that you all talk about the ley lines and all that kind of stuff, right? These
Yes.
dogs, so these dogs are able to, or it's like if you look at the eyes, so they're very similar. They're like a very good animal, and they're actually able to like walk in between the planes, and it's that's why she was able to get. Don't tell anyone else, because I don't want them to be like, oh, let's try to sell the puppy for sex, and then I'd be like, no, don't sell my puppy. So too soon?
Sorry, I'm good. So for sex. Okay. I'm better.
So, I mean, like, yeah, I think
I don't know the name, Dan, right?
You don't know.
I don't remember what they're called, but that's the general nature. They're like somewhat inherently magical.
That is fascinating. That's amazing. I wonder if, you know, I've often heard that dogs are able to hear things that the rest of us are not able to. You know, my whole life I have heard what I now know to be the ley lines. I wonder if, in fact, this dog hears the same music that I do. Something for further research.
I mean, I wonder.
Perhaps if you find a ley line, you can see if Puff Puff reacts to it in any way.
Ooh.
I mean, I mean, after we turn in this book and then we got nothing to do, I mean, we might go find the closest ley line and see if there's anything that would happen. And maybe with having Puff Puff, we can hear maybe we can all hear the music.
Maybe that is perhaps the thing. It is interesting. It is. I have been studying to try to locate and bind myself to ley lines. I've not quite mastered it yet, but around this area there are quite a few different ones. I'm used to the ones that
go
been
to the city.
They go near the city, correct? I mean, the major ones I know are near the city. I assume there might be some smaller ones that run around, like little weak ones. I know the big ones are sort of away, right?
It's possible. Bemia, the ones run into and through the city because they have manipulated the absolute crap out of them, and because they built the city as essentially a giant binding seal to pull them in. They actually changed the course of the ley lines back in the heyday of the megocracies. So, and that's how you get the Western Wastes. So,
well, yeah, and it's not the.
Lads, I want to be frank for a second.
Yes.
Are you feeling okay?
Yes. Are you not?
I mean, it just feels like I'm having a shitty day, but I'm not having a shitty day.
When did this start? There are many things that can sometimes affect you. I hope you didn't pick something up down there. Oh, never mind. That would be meta, I'm sure. That was a strange language that he spoke. I can at least say that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And it had
I mean, just
effect on all the other animals.
Thinking back to that language when you cast your ice knife at him or your chromatic orb at him and he snuffed it out, that word he barked, just thinking about it makes your head throb.
Oh, yes. Perhaps when words can have that effect and just the sounds of them be quite so unnerving, maybe it has stuck with you.
What about that black smoke mist? Were you affected by that?
You were not.
I was not. No.
That was when everyone went blind, if you recall.
Oh, right,
That,
right.
that burst of sort of darkness that washed over everyone.
No, I was not.
Can I roll an Arcana to see if there is a residual effect from that?
Sure. You can make an intelligence Arcana check with disadvantage because diagnosing yourself is difficult.
Okay.
So if you think about this as almost a very mild depression that's kind of settled over you.
Okay. So I'm mad that you said disadvantage, but I'm also happy at the same time because my first roll is a 19 and I was like, fuck. I was like, nah, my second roll is going to be shit. And then I rolled a nat 20 and then I was like,
Nice.
Fuck. All right. So it's a 19.
19.
21. No, 21. 21 in total.
So there was all kinds of hideous dark magic flying around in there, and it's very possible there could be some lingering effects. In fact, now that you mention it, despite some of you nearly dying, I think you included in your battle with the shadows. Once you guys had patched yourselves up from that and taken a rest, you were ready to face the next challenge. You were feeling pretty good, and it was only in kind of the aftermath of that last battle with all of that horrible weirdness where you found the book and where you found Puff Puff. It's only as you were coming down from that this malaise sort of settled over you.
Yeah, it's only after when we fought the weird scythe man and like the shadows, I didn't feel it or anything like that. It's just I don't know. It's just like I'm kind of bummed out, and it's I don't know. I'm not usually bummed out.
Perhaps if you take I tell you what, there's a bed in here. The dog is clean. Why don't the two of you curl up, get some rest? It has had hell of a day, or a hell of a week, or who knows how long it's had a hell of a. Why don't you get a little rest, and I will start reading this book, and hopefully you will feel better.
I will stay on the bed, and I want to read your skin with the ley lines on it. And I'll be resting at the same time and enjoying reading.
I guess just be very, very careful with it. It is very important to me.
Well, it's thick leather. It's not like I'm going to rip it.
That is true. And it is tattooed. So I guess just he's a little.
No, master. The ranger asks to borrow the wizard's spell book. What could go wrong?
Yes, I mean I'm like, but actually, yeah, no, I was gonna say I know what you're going for here. So yes, I'll be like, I will be right here keeping an eye on you because yes, I actually will take my skin off and allow him to
There's
to
almost
study.
no chance he can accidentally trigger anything by
Yeah,
looking over your
and
skin.
I sort of point out then. I just I kind of nudge him. I'm like, and I point to Grandmother's Walk, which is marked on the map, and go, don't do any funny stuff. Grandmother is watching. As I point to the ley line, and give him a nudge. Not really.
So yeah, he shows you this big curving line
can...
marked Grandmother's Walk that sort of twists around by the wormwood.
She could just break her fucking leg. I don't give a shit.
I laugh and
all right.
Yeah, I'll start to read and I'll let you guys see what the other folks have gotten themselves up to.
So all right, Kari and Kane, have you guys retired to some of the pleasure rooms? Is that what I was taken to understand? All right, so you have yourselves quite an invigorating and relaxing afternoon with diversions as you prefer. When you come out, eventually emerging from your chambers, you see that Riodan is at one of the side booths, kind of across from the bar and the gambling tables down on the main floor. And he's sort of sitting kind of sideways on the booth bench, and there's 2 empty wine glasses in front of him, and there is a human woman with just raven black hair that tumbles in these kind of broad, loose curls across her shoulders and down her back, and she's wearing this simple but immaculately cut red and black dress. And looks like she has just recently come over to him, and she kind of leans down and gives him a gentle kiss on each cheek, and kind of draws him up and starts taking him toward the back hallway. And she sort of sweeps her dark, glittering eyes over the two of you as you emerge. She gives a very polite nod to Kari and a dazzling smile to Kane. And she says, "Well, it's been a little while. There were rumors that you died. I'm happy to see that they're false."
Do I
Whoa,
recognize
whoa. This is called
You do.
ERP
This
for a reason, and we have to go back into those rooms and roleplay everything that happened. No.
Oh boy. Yes,
I'm not
you do
German.
Okay.
you do recognize her, Kane. This is Kaja, the madam who oversees the pleasurable pursuits in the Silk Scabbard.
Okay. I nod in appreciation, raise my glass. Seem to look to Reardon just to sort of.
He kind of gives you just a little bit of a head bow and just sort of goes with her back into the back. So you know that those two have an interesting relationship. You suspect that they know each other from way back somehow, but you're not quite sure how. You know that this is one of the contacts that he had when you guys first came to Zobeck.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, in which case, yeah, I will. I'll leave them to it for now because I imagine they're probably. Does it look like they're going back there to talk, or does it look like they're going back there for other things?
It does not look like they're going back there for other things, if you know what I mean. No, it looks like they have almost like a distant relation or, extended family sort of rapport. And it looks like she is expressing some concern and care and kind of almost mothering him a little bit. And you know that fits her personality with her charges here at the Silk Scabbard. You also know that if you offend her, that's a good way to get yourself blacklisted. She watches over her girls and boys like a mother bear, and you do not want to poke her.
Okay. Kane will leave them to it and see what the others are doing. See if.
Sure.
Oh, they're actually. So I just looked up and realized they're actually gone. Like, oh, okay.
Gone. Yeah. So they retired to one of the larger rooms with a tub. So who knows whenever they're going to be back? But you see that Kari is finished, and you guys can search out some drinks or some games or some conversation with patrons, whatever you're looking for. And if you just want to wait for the other two to be done.
Is there any kind of gambling to be done?
Oh, absolutely. You know that there is gambling on both floors of the establishment. That you can see some cards being played at the two tables down here, and there's a stairwell back by the door where you came in that leads up to the second floor, where there are many more tables and kind of a secondary bar.
I am going to look to carry and hook a thumb towards the tables where gambling is taking place.
All right. Okay.
See if he's
So, Kari, what do you think? He sort of gestures up toward the second floor.
I hear tale of a fighting pit somewhere in here.
Yes, you can see that there are two fighting rings not too far from the tables where you're at. It doesn't look like there are any bouts or matches happening right now, but certainly it looks like that sort of stuff does get going on here.
I'll go with him up gambling then.
Could a fight take place? Could we organize a
I
fight?
point to you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys decide you want to have a go of it, you can talk to Jitka, the pit boss, and see about arranging it.
Yeah, I'll step up.
No
All right.
spells.
He nods.
No spells. All right. So
I
you
have
can
no
go
spells, so she's
find.
trying to like that before you go in. Not that you don't know
Right,
that though. Just a fair
Just no
match, no
spells.
spells.
No spells left. Yeah, so you can track down Jitka. You know that he is of Kariv descent, so he's from the plains, and their sort of national industry is banditry and raiding. So he's a bit of a hard man, and he oversees the pit fights. So you find him at one of the tables. Where he has kind of long black hair bound back in a leather cord, and just sort of a nasty looking scar that gouges down his weathered face, sort of slices into his mustache, across his lip, and down across his beard and through his chin. So he kind of looks up from where he's he's leaning over a mug of ale, and it looks like he's going through some papers, just sort of making marks with a charcoal pencil.
I push
And he looks up at
Carrie
you.
gently forward to sort of speak on our behalf.
I look at him like, you didn't need to push me. I know that you never talk.
Kane holds up a defensive hand, as if to say, leave it in the ring.
My companion and I would like to test our fighting skills.
He kind of looks you both up and down. Well, that we can do. You got a thirst for blood. You can go draw some of it in the pit.
Kane shoots him a wink. This is not his first time here.
So let's
I
make
had
this
a
interesting
third
and see
of it.
some coins. I'd say 5 silver each, winner take all.
I take out gold and put it down. I don't have any silver pieces. I'm not trying to look flashy or show you anything.
I don't have any.
But you just...
Yeah, Kane will match it. Right, this
All
is
right.
very important. Have you done any leveling up? Because we haven't slept yet, so I presume you haven't leveled up.
I
Pretty sure
added
you
my
did
hit points in, I think. Yeah, so I'm at 11 hit points right now, because that is more than level 1 hit points. I've not done anything else. I'm assuming I don't get my channel divinity until we do a long rest. I have cantrips available to me.
You actually do. You get access to those things immediately. You just don't get to prepare new spells.
Okay,
Oh,
so
well-
no spells. You said no spells already, so no spells.
Right. Kane, did you do your leveling up for hit points?
No, not yet, and because
Well, let's go ahead and do that now. So if you wanna roll it, you may roll it. If you want to take the static, you may.
Can I text you real quick? I'm not
Can
doing
I
anything sneaky. Just totally
That's not sneaky at
unrelated.
Sure.
Just give me 1 second.
Yep.
And while that goes on, and I am suddenly betrayed, Tallscore, I know how you feel now. I am being betrayed. It's happening.
Oh, imagine that. Yeah, imagine that. You see the sympathy on my face that someone is betraying you with the DM.
The sympathetic
behind your
glee.
back.
Yeah, tell me all about betrayal and sympathy, Squall. Yeah,
Hey,
we'll just
that
keep
is part
working
of
our way up
my
that tree.
character. I was just playing my character. That is Josh, what he does as a player.
Hey, I'm an all-round good guy. So it's a...
Yeah.
10.
So I saw you waving Cloak. Did you have a thing?
Yeah, what do
I
you
was
got?
just waving because I'm the only person that's probably not betrayed anyone here because you guys haven't played with me ever. So
That's the only reason.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Only reason.
Okay, yeah, I will step into. I'll step up to this as I'm inevitably being screwed over by Tia.
Oh, I think you'll be fine. All right, so Jitka takes your money, and he leads you over to the pit, and some patrons you can see kind of look around to each other, murmur, nod over. They lay their cards down and start passing coins as you guys approach the pit. All right, Tia, why don't you go ahead and make me a dexterity check for you know what?
Okay. Just the check itself straight out?
If I understood what you were asking correctly.
Okay. I'm gonna whisper you that for that.
Yeah.
Oh, you eye scumbag.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah. That before that and then that. So give me 1 second.
That before that, and then that, and then
What?
death.
This is
I want to like a play-by-play after this is all over, so I can be
Yeah.
like, okay. You know that one time we're hanging out with that
I
one
don't
dude
think,
and
I
that
don't
thing
think, I don't think it
happened?
works. I don't think it works.
So yeah, Kane, you catch a sight of her as she sort of reaches up toward her the little like panther claw amulet that she wears around her neck that you know is her holy symbol, and it looks like she's starting to pray.
I look at her.
She's trying to do it real subtly, like she goes
Oh,
up
yeah.
and she starts binding her hair back, and then one hand, yeah, she's binding her hair back, making sure it's tight, and one hand reaches toward her medallion.
I dead eyeball her. Just
It is
All right,
tradition
so
to
you-
pray to my god before every battle.
So you see that he sees you, Kari. Do you
And
And I'm trying to
proceed?
play it off like it's just a regular prayer. It's
roll
not
me a
a
deception,
magical
motherfucker.
prayer. It's not, you know.
You know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
When you
There's
have too
something
many
that I-
DMs in the house.
there's a little something that I spaced. We're going to need to back it up just a second. Riodan, as you're heading towards the pit, you're sort of cracking your knuckles and working yourself up, and you're trying to get focused, but your thoughts are sort of borne down by this nasty weight that's been then kind of weighing on you ever since this just dark business down in the cartways. And so you do not, in fact, because of this distraction, notice her doing this business. So you may call on your channel divinity.
Okay.
Nothing.
To give you a mechanical explanation, you have disadvantage on some wisdom and charisma checks at the moment. So your passive perception is reduced.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So you miss her doing that. All right. So you guys hop down into the pit, and you can see some patrons start to come over and just lean up toward the rail with interest. And so as you get down there, Jitka looks at both of you and says, "What'll it be then? Knuckles or weapons?"
I looked at
I looked-
Kane.
No, I look at Gary.
Oh, she lifts her fists up and he says, "All right then. Then when one of you begs for mercy or can't, fight's over. Now let's see some blood." And he sort of bangs his fist on the rail. So why don't we roll initiative?
I got a 7.
I got a 6.
I got
Weird. So
I am-
quick.
Yeah, we are the quickest. I'm
Really sizing each other up for this, you know? Just nice and calm, nice and slow.
Right. So you have a 7, Riodan. Carrie, do you just have a 6? Sorry, Kane. I think you have something more along the lines of a 16, don't you?
Is that included for... Okay, yeah, okay. Well, everybody knows, cat's out of the bag now. I use my channel divinity to use my shadow... the plus 10 bonus to any dexterity or ability check made by me or somebody within 30 feet. I didn't write down how long that lasts, though. I thought it was possibly a one-turn thing. Or one-check thing.
Well, that's
Copy.
feline finesse. You can use your channel divinity to add a plus 10 bonus to any dexterity, ability, or skill check made by you or someone else you designate. So it's on one thing. What were you wanting to use it on, if not?
That's what I
channel
had
divinity?
messaged you about, just in case that situation comes up. I'll be prepared for it. So I just have it kind of like, if it's possible to store it.
Oh,
I
like
guess?
you can't know. It's you got to do it when you're doing the check. So it's
Shit,
like
okay.
when you can use it
Is
when the
that-
fight's getting ready to start right now.
Okay, is Channel Divinity a full action then? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I probably won't do that then. It'll be
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to guess it pretty accurately, and I don't think that's going to happen. Could I then have changed that? No, okay, never mind. I won't. That's just too meta. I was going to change it to True Strike then, just as a cantrip on him. But that's okay. I didn't read the mechanics.
Casting a spell is very visible if it has, verbal and somatic components.
It's
so that without
only somatic, so
only somatic. Okay,
only
there you go.
somatic.
All right. So let's see. It's punching time, I believe. Riodan, you're up.
Oh man.
Or
Still
Scott, Kane. Still Kane. Still Kane. For reals, I know it. Have
in
Rio
this
down on the
case,
brain.
Same. I mean,
Yeah. I'm going to walk up and I'm going to just make a quick jab straight at her as we're going fists only.
Are we taking armor off? Or are we?
Not as far as I know. You guys didn't. So unarmed strike.
How do you do an unarmed strike in this program?
It's a strength-based melee attack. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just strength plus.
Just strength?
So strength plus strength and proficiency bonus.
Oh, okay. No, there's still an attack though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the attack roll.
I do not hit him.
Well, it's his turn first. So go ahead and make your attack roll.
I rolled a 13.
13, 16 doesn't hit me at all. I just that's why I'm asking
All right,
about armor
yeah,
because
so
I didn't put it out of the way.
Right. Yeah, she throws her guard up and knocks it away, and then she tries to counterattack with a quick elbow to your throat, and you just sort of step back. And your turn.
15, getting closer.
All right, so he drives back in with a flurry of punches, and you're able to slap each one away quickly and deftly, Kari.
Nope.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to land hits on him. Strength is my dumb stat, so this could be a long fight.
20 hits.
Yeah,
All right,
good.
so after just this quick flurry of back and forth jabs, quick elbows, and short stick strikes, he just comes in with this uppercut and just cracks you right under the jaw. So you deal 1 plus your strength bonus in bludgeoning damage.
That's 4 damage.
All right, so you take a pretty solid strike to your jaw, kind of clicks your teeth together, rings your bell a little bit.
Oh,
How do you respond?
I kind of want to swing out with my shield and attempt to hit him.
Oh, you're gonna shield bash him?
Yeah, I mean, we're keeping armor on, so yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's not a. That's
Okay.
fists. Swings a shield at me. Fair enough.
All right, so that's
Wait.
going to be an improvised.
That's a crit fail.
That's a nat. Can I take her shield off her?
Okay, so Kane, go ahead and make a strength athletics check, and Kari, you can oppose this with dexterity acrobatics. As you strike out with your shield, he kind of grabs it at the rim and tries to wrench it off your arm.
That's I got
24.
20! Oh.
24.
20 to 24. All right. You hear the pin on the buckle on your shield kind of ping as he bends it out of place and wrenches the shield off and tosses it to the side and kind of shakes out his arm. So drop your
Shield is
shield
+2, right?
bonus. It is,
Mhm.
yes. So drop your AC by 2.
Okay, I'm just going to try and
And,
remember that. Put it on notes here. Okay, got it.
14.
We shall continue. So that'll be Kari's strike, I believe, since you just disarmed her of her shield.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cannot hit
Oh.
anything. It's like I'm flailing like this at him right now. Like I got a 1 and then a 2. Like it's just bad.
10
Oh,
It's
no.
like I've never seen battle.
Well, actually, it's not going too bad. Like you're able to deflect and roll out of the way of most of his blows. It's just the one that's caught you so far. So everybody is actually starting to kind of like drum on the railings now. And Glaz and Cloak, you can hear some ruckus starting to filter up from downstairs. You can hear pounding and shouting and yeah, hit her again, kind of filters up to you.
I would just look at
so-
Glaz at that point and be like, "Oh, they're probably fighting again," and he just goes back to like looking at the ley lines.
Puff
Yeah, I
Puff
go
kind of
back to
tilts
reading
her
the
head
book.
to the side and gives a little. All right, Kari, it's your turn, I believe.
Let me try to actually roll. You get that 20. Yes.
Oh!
Okay. Woo!
All right. So after he kind of throws a punch at your ribs, you just sort of take it on your studded leather armor, I believe you wear. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah. Okay. So you just take it in the studded leather, and you trap his arm and sort of force him to bend down a little bit, and just drive your elbow into his nose. So you will deal 2 points plus your strength bonus.
My strength bonus is -1, so.
So you take
Oh my
1.
God.
You
Yeah.
take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as she clocks you right across the face.
So literally, she can't do any damage unless she rolls a nat 20.
I'm going to say on a
She
punch.
You have to-
I'm saying on a.
minimum one.
It's always one. Like minimum of
In
one.
general, in 5th edition, there is not a minimum of 1, but I'm saying on a solid punch, I'm giving it a min of 1.
Also, Kari doesn't know this. Kari doesn't know how weak
Right.
she is. She thinks she's raised a fighter, so she's going in fully intending that she's going to do this. One hit.
Realizing that if she wants to do this, she needs a level of monk. All right, Kane, how do you answer?
No, on a 10, no luck at all.
All right, so you kind of try and straighten up and drive your knee into her as she comes in close with the elbow, and she just kind of places both hands on it and hops backward, using your momentum to get out of your reach. Kari, your strike.
Nope, that is another noodle arm coming his way.
Damn, we are.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm being cautious
It
now.
looks great, but it's like one of those
It does.
dreams where
It
you're
does.
somebody and you just are not doing anything.
But yeah, you like Kane is now like grinning. His whole stance shifts to a slightly lower center of mass, and he has that very much. You're a hunter. You recognize what a predator looks like stalking prey.
Mm-hmm. And when he grins, you can see just the faint little descent of his eye teeth into just peeking into fangs a little bit. Maybe can't even help it. A little bit of a fang boner. All right, so Kane, I believe it's your strike at this point.
I don't know. I miss. Just
Oh, you
I'm
missed.
gonna
All
go
right, Kari.
toying with my prey. That's what I'm going with.
All right.
I have a 16.
Ooh,
16
I
hits.
believe that hits.
All right.
So she kind of drives in quickly and throws a quick just a straight arm punch right at your mouth and catches you on the lip. So you take a point of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Kane does not look
At this point-
particularly injured.
Right. As you get ready to respond, there's a flutter of wings, and your owl kind of brushes a couple of patrons in the face with a great outstretched wingspan and just settles on the rail and sort of twists its head 90 degrees and watches. So, Kane.
With that, I sock her good. In that moment of distraction as she looks over,
Right.
Kane just comes in and he feints left and then just brings his elbow into her ribs.
All right, so that's 1 plus your strength bonus. That was 4, is that right?
4 damage, yeah, 4 bludgeoning.
All right, so that's another 4 bludgeoning damage, Kari, as you kind of lose your breath. The strike to the ribs.
She's still standing, but she's holding her side, and she has a look of determination, like she's not going to give up until she's definitely all the way down.
All right. Get him. Your strike.
I do not get him. I come at him, the pain kind of... Ugh. What is
All
the
right,
400?
we have-
Please tell me you're healing me, dude. I know you want to heal me. I know. That's
We have
what's up.
bits flying around. What does this do?
What is this for? Tell us, because Will's not here, so that she gets a crit. Okay,
Oh, that's
I just need to live.
nat 20.
I just
All
need
right.
to live one more round, and I can hit him again.
All right.
Hit her.
So Kari has a nat 20 in the kitty.
In the bank.
So I believe.
That's an 18.
Oh,
Let's
that'll-
see. So that's your turn now, right? Because he just clocked.
An 18.
I'm down. I'm down.
I'm just going to, like, as she comes in, sweep her knee to one side, and as she goes down, just drive into the side of her temple.
Oof, all right. So as you come in, he flicks out a kick and catches you in the side of the knee, and you tumble backwards, and his fist just hammers into your cheekbone. Oh,
I got a heal before the combat was over.
What effect does the heal take?
It's 1d10.
It's 1d10 healing.
1d10.
So I'm gonna.
1d10. So do you roll it or do I?
You can roll it if you want.
Whatever the protocol is, I'm good with.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
I'll
Carriage
roll
on.
it 7. Okay,
Seven?
so I'm at 7
Seven.
hit points again because I was down to 0, now back up to 7. So.
All right, so he sweeps your left leg out from under you, smashes you on the cheek, and for a second, your vision goes black. Grab another D10 worth of healing, and you sort of, for a second, you black out, and then you just see this flash of a great shadowy stalking figure, and you hear this primal scream, and the rest of you kind of watching and listening hear this scream erupt from her. But as you were positive you just put her lights out, she screams in defiance, flips around seemingly in defiance of gravity, and strikes out at you as she regains her feet.
I'm presuming this is going to be a nat 20.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So,
All right. So
It sounds like Kane's
flicks.
gonna win this time.
So she basically does this
I think so.
spinning kick as she throws herself up off the ground and catches you right in the temple with the toe of her boot, and you take 2 bludgeoning damage.
Kane backs off slightly, just like a trickle of blood running from the corner of his mouth. And I'm going to try and grapple her.
All right, so as this is going on, you see a couple of the pairs up on the railing start shouting, and you hear a few of them saying, "No, 5 gold, 5 gold!" All right, so you're going to try and grapple her. That's a strength athletics check. Kari, you can oppose it with your dexterity acrobatics.
Okay.
22.
Oh. 22?
16.
What do you-
She slipped
16.
free.
So you try to throw her into this arm bar, and she just kind of twists, shifts her weight, and slides out of it. So Kari, that's your turn, and I think Ben just gifted you another 20.
And I'm
Yep,
going to
another
use
crit.
it right away.
All right.
Okay.
All right, how do you want to? What sort of strike? All right, so as she slips out of your grab, she just kind of jumps up into the air and lays her fist down, just kind of bringing her weight down on you. You take another 2 bludgeoning.
Still up, but
Still up?
suddenly... I'm getting abused. She challenged me, cheated, and hit me with a shield, and I am getting the hate in this fight.
Yeah, well,
Man.
Ben's got the Shadow Fae love, so that's happening.
Hmm.
So whereabouts are you at on hit points? Are you below half or
No.
no? All right. So a few bruises, maybe a split lip, nothing serious.
No.
And it is your turn.
I am just checking real quick. Yep, no, that's... so a 10 will miss. God.
I respond immediately as soon as he misses striking down with my fist. I get a
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
It's just quickly going to be like jabs and everything at this point.
All
Once she
right,
feels
yeah.
that
So
surge and that rush.
throws a flurry of jabs into your stomach, and you take a point of bludgeoning damage.
I am not quite below half yet.
Right.
But that's 15.
That hits me this time.
That hits because you got rid of her
So that's-
shield.
That's
Yeah.
4.
Okay.
All right,
How you
another.
doing?
He's got solid fists, and he just
Boom,
rings
so
your
do
bell
I.
again.
I get him again. I
Yep.
take the blow and I just launch back right away for another point of damage.
All
Okay,
right.
20,
That is another
20,
hit.
that's-
Ugh.
So you take another one.
Yeah. I'm gonna just come up under her guard and headbutt her, driving her back.
Ooh.
Just
All right.
seemingly enjoying myself.
All right, put the heat to her. Did
No,
you,
I try to swing back, and after the headbutt, I'm a little dazed, and I kind of stagger around the side of the ring.
Right.
Okay.
You swing back and just kind of swing wild, and it doesn't connect. Did I get that right? We're at Kane's strike now?
Yep. That's a
I
hit.
think this is it.
Are
Yeah.
you out?
Depends on how much damage you do.
It's
I do
4.
Oh, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right.
Like as you come in with your wild haymaker, like Kane would just step to the one side, come up underneath to grab her arm, and just swing his elbow into the back of her head.
All right. So with just this dull, resounding thwack, Kari's head snaps forward, and is that another D10 healing?
Oh my god.
That's just evil, man. Oh, it's just 4 though, and it needs this one hit.
Roll your D10.
Back, boom. Oh, I got a 4, so I have 4 hit
All
points
right.
total right now, and I am just coming right back up and attempting to strike.
You miss. And I miss.
You miss?
Oh,
I
so
miss?
you kind of have her arm wrapped up, and so you're having trouble getting a good swing at her because she's just kind of like flowing around the sides of you.
And yeah, we're basically like in those tense grapple moments where like it's just like arms against each other, like forearms locked. I nat 1. I nat 1.
Oh.
I'll take my dues.
All right. So the crowd is really getting into it now as you crack her on the back of the head, and it looks like she's down again. You can hear half of them are ah, and half of them are ah, and then she snaps back up, and there's this weird wave of sound as the voices flip places as exultation turns to frustration and. What is going on? Another crit.
That's another crit.
That's another crit for Carrie. So how would you like to
Bill
crit him?
wants to see Carrie win.
Oh, can I just kind of like karate kick him in the head if possible, I guess, instead of actually punching him? Like we've been doing a lot of fist stuff, but as well just kind of like jump up and kick him in the head.
Yep, absolutely. So as he tries to smack you, and with his nat 1, his foot kind of slides in the sand, and you strike his knee that throws him into a half split. And he has to try and catch himself before he falls all the way to the ground. And you jump up and just drive your knee into his chin.
Yes.
So that's the 2 bludgeoning there. Yep.
Okay.
You getting there?
That's a
Buddy?
21.
No.
Ah, 21.
Again?
I am down again.
How
Right.
many freaking times?
I was gonna say let the DM call it, man, or else you're gonna have another one come in.
All right. So you just drive a forearm into her gut. She doubles over, and you just backhand the back of her neck, and she drops into the sand. Poof. And there's just this that erupts from the crowd that has now just sort of tripled as people have wandered in, and you can hear them pounding from up on a second floor balcony where they're overlooking the pits.
Kane
I should have chugged my healing potion.
Kane just reaches down, grabs her, picks her up, blood across her face and everything like that.
Yep.
And sort of teeth bared, he's going to wrap her arm around his shoulders, holding her up. And as he does so, you will... Let me just see how much it will be.
I healed your bird. Don't forget.
You take
You're
5
covered.
necrotic damage.
You are covered in blood,
Don't
might
kill
I
me.
remind you, and you fucked
please
up.
don't.
You just repeatedly fucking hit a vampire, a Dampier, and cheated. So
You don't know that. You don't know that.
you shield bashed me. Take 4 healing from Cure Wounds, you bitch.
All right, so you kind of snap back to consciousness as you're being sort of carried by Kane.
I have her arm in the air as she fought bloody well.
Sure. So that you can see coins and purses kind of excitedly and angrily changing hands up around you, around the raised railing. And Jitka, the pit boss jumps down and holds your other hand up and slaps a little purse into it and just sort of gestures to both of you to thunderous applause and cheers from the crowds and great poundings of mugs on the rails. So you guys up in the room, there is just a din now, just reverberating.
Quite the show, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's just like,
I don't know why they get so excited about fighting.
Dan, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is this the first time that Kane's beaten someone down in the ring, being a local?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
I'm going to say like Kane's been here a couple of times, and
Sure.
I mean a couple of times since it was under this sort of ownership.
Sure.
Like he's been coming here a while, so yeah. Kane
is Kane much of a pit fighter? Is he much into the gladiatorial blood sports circuit? All right. Okay. Well, we can talk about that a little later then.
He just holds Carrie up sort of until she's like her feet come back to her, and then not wanting to sort of shame her in any way, he'll let her stand on her own, and just to hold his arms up, covered in blood.
Okay, so for the rest of the day, neither of you have to pay for a drink, and so you basically get as lit up or as not as you want over the rest of this afternoon and evening, as these patrons enjoyed that spectacle so much that basically your tab is on them for the day. Through various people saying,
food, but I don't drink. So
just a variety of people buying you drinks. Okay, so you stick to water then.
Yeah,
got it.
Kane does not. Kane doesn't get sloshed, but Kane drinks.
Okay. So you take advantage, but you don't overindulge.
I try to spend more time. I'm more curious about talking to the people and actually hearing their stories and their hunts and telling them the stories of my hunts and stuff like that. So if I have people who have an attention to that and try and build a positive reputation, then I will.
So,
Kane stuff, but
question.
Yes.
Does no one in our party drink? Because Cloak doesn't drink.
Kane drinks.
I do not drink. In fact, this may be the only D&D campaign I've ever been in that I don't drink.
It's like he's like a mead. He likes mead.
I was going to say he's a mead guy, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a mead guy, but he's not. He's not like the super strong fortified meads. He's more of the just sort of sweet meads. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so for now we'll say that Riodan's a wine drinker, but we'll let Will figure that out once he can get back with us. All right, I dig it. He's having a rough time of it. So over the course of the rest of the day, Kari, you're able to start to pick up that there is something off about most of your companions. The two of you who are up in the room, when do you guys eventually come out?
Well, I mean, I think am I able to read the whole notebook?
Right. You're okay. So you're reading through the notebook. So a lot of it is sort of feels, certainly in the beginning, feels sort of like a mundane diary. It's just this nobleman who was seeing to his aristocratic responsibilities, some mercantile pursuits that the family involved in, and then you reach. So you start to get. Every now and then he'll mention the nightmares were particularly bad last night. I shall have to redouble my efforts to maintain my focus today. And you'll get little references like that about nightmares or strange thoughts and strange feelings. About halfway through the diary, you come upon a passage that seems like it is not as carefully scrawled as the rest of it was. Mostly Werner Strauss's hand is quite measured, very precise, very legible. Here it's been scratched down onto the parchment in haste. And you can even see like ink splots where maybe the pen leaked or he didn't blot it, that sort of thing. And it says, I can no longer ignore them.
Did we lose him? I think we lost him.
Oh, I thought it was a long pause.
At first, I thought
No,
it
I
was
think
pause. I thought it was pause as well, so I could write down because I'm typing as I go. But I think we lost him. Oh no!
We're at 7:45. We could.
I can
Well,
no
let's see if he
longer
comes
ignore
back.
them.
Yeah, I can no longer ignore. Let's just wait
Yeah.
a second, see if he pops back.
What a cliffhanger, everyone.
Yeah, great, really, really, really big cliffhanger.
I thought for sure I was going to win that fight and get lucky. God dang, my -1 strength modifier. I should have
Yeah,
cast the true strike.
Wait, did Josh freeze too?
Yeah, Josh seems to be.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, Josh is
interesting.
going as well. Wait, are we there? Is everyone else there and
I'm
we're
here.
not there?
Is
Hold on,
the stream there? No, we're good.
Yeah,
okay,
no, we're
guys.
still here. So half of us have frozen. So it's a curse.
We
the fuck?
made our wisdom saves, clearly.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently.
Whatever was going on with the. Oh,
I'm guessing that with
Oh,
Will's
okay.
PC issues and
Oh,
everything
hi.
else.
So what's happened? What's happened is, what's happened? Dan's just found
A
out. there's- yeah,
transformer
a
just blew in his
transformer has
neighborhood.
blown. He is completely without power.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Well, that would do
Today
it.
is
Guys,
a
thank you so
Well,
much for
sorry.
coming to Encounter Roleplay. Fantasy Grounds is our tabletop thing of choice. D and Dice.
So yeah,
check that out.
yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can find us. Will has already said that he's got a backup PC, so he will be on as usual tomorrow. Just on the backup PC. Apologies with the move and everything. It's been a bit chaotic, and everything was going so smoothly, as he said, and then has all gone wrong at the last second. But these things inevitably happen. We should be back to normal without any further delay tomorrow. But in the meantime, we're going to wrap up here, get Will into co-standard stream. Thank you so much for everyone for putting up with technical difficulties and everything today. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much to people who got involved and donated, especially Wubs out there. For £150 donations, it means a whole heck of a lot. It means that we can pay to get everything sorted like that and make sure that things, there are no future delays. So it means a heck of a lot. And let's go around to cast the crew and meet the people who survived to the end of the stream. We'll start with Tall School. Who are you?
Hey, I'm Tall Squall. You can find me all over the internet as Tall Squall. The best place to find out all the different things I'm involved with is to go to my Twitter account, where the pinned tweet has links to all of the different things, including my own campaign that I run on Saturdays at 2 o'clock. We run 100% for charity. This month, we are supporting the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which is for Parkinson's research. It's near and dear to my heart, as my aunt lived with Parkinson's for almost 20 years. And so I hope to see you guys there. If you do come our way, let me know that you found us here at the World Tree Burns and the Midgard campaign. I will say that I have borrowed liberally from Kobold Press and all their wonderful resources, including Tome of Beasts. I have already started using some of the previews from the Creature Codex that they are about to come out with, and things like Leyline Magic and Room Magic are also active in my world. So if you want to see how you can build Midgard, build Kobold Press Midgard content into a homebrew world, come check it out on my channel. Again, that's 2 o'clock on Saturdays, 100% for charity. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you very much. That's the wonderful Tall School. We'll cut now to McLoken. Who are you, buddy, and what do you do?
I'm Cloak.
Hi everyone. I play
The lovable Cloak. He will never deceive you.
I got a golden puppy today, so I'm super excited. I thought it was super exciting. I like the dynamics that were kind of forming. Especially like at the tavern, you had the characters go off and be like, we're gonna go study because we're nerds, and then the other two were like, we're gonna go fuck, and it's like, yeah,
and then fight.
and then fight. Which was I thought was great, and especially like having cloaks like Paranoia come out and all that kind of stuff, and in the city. Yeah, you guys can find me all over Twitch. Mainly follow my Twitter at McLoken. You can find out what show I'm going to be on. Tomorrow, generally, that's when I do my my D&D show. But people are out for E3, so we're just gonna take a day off, and I'm gonna mow the lawn.
Oh, crazy!
So
Crazy.
I know, right? Yeah, responsibilities. I've been up since like 4 a.m., so I'm super tired. But I had D&D always can keep me awake. I could go on for another like fucking 5 hours and be like, "Let's go."
Yeah. I feel you.
Oh, I understand that entirely. Speaking of people who play quite a lot of D&D at the moment, Tia, who are you? And tell us about what you're doing.
Hi, my name is Tia. I do stuff. I'm in 2 role-playing shows on Tuesdays here on Encounter Roleplay, Long March, and obviously here, The World Tree Burns. On Fridays, I'm part of a Firefly role-playing game on Grimjack 21502's channel. It's great. If you're a Browncoat, come out. If you're not, then don't, because Browncoat's forever. And I'm also in a War of the Spider Queen roleplay on Fridays, and I'm picking up a Saturday game, and I may also be picking up a Monday game, soon to be announced. I don't know if I'll be able to pick up more games, however, because unfortunately I do have to spend time on my own channel. But if you really like my roleplay, if you like my cosplay, if you want to support me and see me on other shows, as this is my full-time line of work, I have a super supporter Patreon that I would ask you to go and check out, and it's just going to give me more abilities to be on other amazing shows like Encounter Roleplay, because I love bringing characters like Kalithra, Kari, Vikanya, Vi, all those people to life, and I would fill every moment of my life with D&D if I could. I'm working towards that. And that's how you can help me do that. If not, come hang out in my Discord, talk about all things D&D, talk about all things Blizzard's games. We have a support room for anybody who goes through any type of mental or physical disabilities. If you are in an abusive relationship, if you are an alcoholic or a drug addict and you just need somebody to talk to, if you're feeling suicidal, come check out my Discord. We have a support room. It's completely locked down, meaning that you have to be a member, ask a mod to get in, and we keep everything private. It's just kind of a safe place on the internet to share stuff together. That being said, I'm going to post those links in chat, and I will see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Indeed. And last but...
nope, that's it.
Well, probably least.
My name is Will, and I'm a D&D sex icon, and you can find me here on Encounter Roleplay. That's pretty close, right?
That was bliss in my eye. It was almost perfection. As for me, my name is Josh, also known as Encounter Josh. You can find me on the same Firefly show that Tia is on. You can find me... today is my day of days, where I do over on the Greyhawk channel, and it ends. It's 3 hours. Oh God, I'll look up times. You can find it online on my Twitter. But I'm on the Greyhawk channel in a new campaign that started today, which will be up on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the VODs for. It is Vecna Lives. It is done by the amazing Laugh Love Lindy from Encounter Roleplay's. Tomes and Tentacles and pretty much everything. She's in everything. She's in our Firefly game. She does so much. It's unreal. With Mythomatic, Zippy Zippo, Don, and I think that's everyone getting involved in just fighting against the just terribleness that is Vecna, then running Long March, and then here, Fridays I'm on Grimjack's channel, and I'm also on Turncloaks with the wonderful Tool School. It is basically just the worst time you can possibly have for us, and just wonderful. We'd love to hear from you guys. We get loads of reviews that we read out before the shows of all the love and supports we've had them. As for everything else, you guys can check out all of our different links, which I'll get posted in the chat now. But Encounter Roleplay is on sort of ungodly amounts of time a week. I've actually lost track. You can see our schedule is down below. And thank you so much for everyone who turned up and supported. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Everything should be resolved for tomorrow. In the meantime, try not to roll too many nat ones, because we want to be melting our laptops, blowing transformers, freezing, and just generally having technical difficulties. When you do, good night, one and all.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Later.